Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Monday. Welcome back for the weekend. Hope it was a great one for all of you. We are with you for the next 3 hours here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube and WIBW News on Facebook. However, wherever, whenever you are catching the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Excited to be with you on this Monday. Spencer Dupuy will be along in the 4 o'clock hour. Brendan Sorsby is off today. Plenty to get to from the sports weekend that was. We are jam-packed on the show today. There is so much to talk about. There are some shows, some days we come back from a weekend, we come back on a Monday and think 3 hours, hell, we could do 6. I mean, content-wise, like that'd wear us out, for being honest, wear me out, if we're really being honest about it. But we have no shortage of news and games and topics to discuss on today's program. Excited to get to them with all of you. We'll talk some baseball on the show today. KU's season is over, in case you missed it earlier today. And I hardly remembered they were even resuming last night's game because, well, frankly, it was 8-1 in the third inning when they banged it for the night due to the lightning and inclement weather in the area. But it did not get better. It, in fact, got worse for the Kansas Jayhawks in Game 2 of their best-of-3 Super Regional, as Oklahoma ended up trouncing the Jayhawks, finishing that suspended game with a 13-2 win and sweeping the Jayhawks out of the postseason. The Sooners go to Omaha, and KU's magical season, in which they tied the school record for wins with 45, comes to an end one step shy of Omaha. We'll discuss how sometimes that's baseball, Susan, as John Sterling used to say on the Yankees broadcast. That's baseball. And the Jayhawks' accomplishments in 2026 will, in this moment, feel lessened by how they went out. Not just losing in 2 games, but really, if we're being honest about it, being pretty non-competitive for 18 innings of baseball. Sometimes that's how baseball works, man. Sometimes you ain't got it and the other guy does. And that was the case this weekend at Hoagland Ballpark. And in the long run, we will not remember the how of Kansas's elimination. We will not remember the details of it. That's for Oklahoma. That's for the victors to remember. But what will last from Kansas's season will be a lot more meaningful than just the last 18 innings of disappointing baseball in Lawrence. We'll also get to the Royals. I said if they won 3 out of 4 in Minnesota, I'd raise an eyebrow. Well, consider my eyebrow raised. I can't do it. Like, I can't physically, like the Rock, the people's eyebrow. I can't actually physically do that. So if you're watching the video stream and you're watching for me to do that, I can't do it. Sorry to disappoint. But in a metaphorical fashion, I am cocking an eyebrow towards the Kansas City Royals, who just went 5-2 over a week and finished a road trip at 500, which, when you get swept to start the road trip, 500 outcome, not that bad in a vacuum. And they win 3 out of 4 in Minnesota. They got a pulse, maybe a faint pulse. I'll tell you why from the weekend. Still not all the way buying back in on a real resurgence, but definitely some good things happening for the Royals on the weekend. In particular, another stellar performance from Noah Cameron on the mound yesterday. And maybe, just maybe, Noah Cameron is doing some things that might allow him to outdo my perception of him as more of a back of the rotation option and settle into more of a mid-rotation sort of arm for the Royals moving forward. We'll get to some Royals baseball later on. Royals are off today before they begin a homestand with 3 against the Texas Rangers. Game 1 of that series is tomorrow night. So no Royals baseball tonight. We're with you till 6. Then you get to hear Dave Ramsey for a change here on WIBW. We'll also get to some football today. Folks, it is back. It was popular last year when we rolled it out and tried it and had some fun with it over the course of the summer. We are bringing back the countdown to Chiefs Kickoff. We are 98 days away from the Chiefs and the Broncos at Arrowhead Stadium on Monday night to open the 2026 season. So we begin our countdown. Last year we did 100 days. Well, the 100-day was Saturday, and sorry I didn't open the mic up on Saturday. Had some other things going on. So we will begin the countdown today at number 98. And if you remember how we did the countdown last year, every day was corresponding with a jersey number. So we were going to talk about number 98 today, but number 98 is a camp invite. So we're going to fudge it a little bit, and we're going to talk about number 99 today because number 99 is Peter Woods. And I think he is one of the most important players for the Kansas City Chiefs this season. So we'll talk about that as we begin our Kansas City Chiefs countdown to kickoff. And speaking of football, the big sports story of today comes to us from the world of college football, where Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has received an injunction from a Lubbock County, Texas judge that will allow him, for now, to play for Texas Tech in the 2026 college football season after serving an institutionally imposed 2-game suspension for his gambling activities, which included gambling on his own team while he was at the University of Indiana. A penalty, or rather an infraction that carries with it, per the NCAA's rules, a permanent loss of eligibility. Apparently, that's too stiff for the liking of this judge from, I'll say it again, Lubbock County. Actually, the judge himself is not from Lubbock County, but the ruling was issued in a Lubbock County court. And the judge is from Texas. So draw your own conclusions. I am not exaggerating when I say this is one of the darkest days in the history of college sports, that an injunction was granted in this case. And if Brendan Sorsby sets foot on a football field for the Texas Tech Red Raiders this fall, it is going to be cataclysmically bad for college sports and, truthfully, for all of sports. It goes beyond the NCAA's ability, or now seeming inability, to enforce its own rules or say who can and cannot play. And it goes to the bigger picture of the credibility of the sporting events we watch and the integrity of the games themselves. They are under threat like they have never been before. And today's injunction for Brendan Sorsby puts them further and further in jeopardy. And if you think I'm upset about it, you should hear what Gene Taylor has to say about it, among others who have been willing to go on the record today expressing just how bad this ruling is for college sports. We'll get into that later on in the show today. Plus, it is a Monday. We got plenty of time for shenanigans. Got our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a trip to the winner's circle and a playoff roundup. We will have a new week of What Is Wrong With You begin today. We will also get into our good, bad, ugly from the weekend. And how could I forget, coming up in about 20, 25 minutes or so, our guest today is Matt Verderame, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated and SI.com. We'll get Matt's takes on the week that was in the National Football League, news and notes from around OTAs. I'm going to ask him if he thinks Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer, the longtime quarterback retiring last week, 10-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. I'm going to get his thoughts on that. Of course, we're going to get Matt's thoughts on the NBA Finals because his Knicks are 2 wins away from the first championship of his lifetime with Game 3 of the Finals tonight. So we'll have some fun with Matt Verderame, Sports Illustrated, NFL insider. He'll join us in about 25 minutes or so on 580 Sports Talk. You are, as always, invited and encouraged to be part of the discussion today. We want to hear from you. The text line is open. 785-272-9429 is the number. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with the program on our live chat feature on our YouTube stream. If you're watching the program on YouTube today, 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Pop on in, say hello, interact with your hosts and fellow listeners, and help grow the 580 Sports Talk community on YouTube. Again, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. See Mark H in the chat today. Andrew's in. Been a minute, Andrew. Welcome back. Tyler is into the chat today. Vance, Christopher, Carl is in. It's a well-attended chat early on in the program today. Look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along on 580 Sports Talk today. But we begin with Super Regional Weekend at the Hog, and boy, that was a bummer, wasn't it? 13-2 the final today after the resumption of last night's suspended game. Oklahoma just kept right on hitting, and the Kansas Bats, their strength throughout their magical 2026 Big 12 championship season, fell silent, mustering just 3 runs in 2 games as Kansas is swept out of the Super Regionals by Oklahoma. I said on Friday's show, 2 keys to the weekend, 2 biggest keys to the weekend for Kansas. They had to have the starting pitching advantage, which all of the numbers, both on paper and advanced, suggested that they would have. And they had to keep Oklahoma in the ballpark. No and no. KU's starting pitching tandem of Dominic Vagley and Mason Cook both struggled mightily, with Cook failing to make it out of the second inning last night. And Oklahoma had 5 different hitters hit home runs, 7 in total for the Sooners on the weekend. The Sooners, to their credit, they came into the weekend in attack mode and absolutely jumped on the Jayhawks with their bats and with their pitchers throwing strikes. Cord Rager, the freshman lefty, continued the long-held tradition of being a guy who gets poked at a little bit on 580 Sports Talk for having a silly or a unique or a different or a strange name, and then absolutely kicking butt. It's happened so many times on this program. Cord Rager dominated the Jayhawks on Saturday, 6 innings of 1-run ball. And why did he do it? He threw strikes. He threw strike 1. Oklahoma came in like the team with nothing to lose and came in full attack mode. And that is how you win a short series. You can't be on your heels. You can't expect to go into the middle of the ring and trade jabs for a couple of rounds before you can get to your best punch. Oklahoma threw their best punches early and often in both games, and Kansas never really recovered. I said during regional play that the thing that stood out about Kansas's performance at the regional, where they beat Northeastern and then beat Arkansas twice to advance to the Supers, is that KU didn't feel overawed by the moment. They didn't feel overcome by the stakes, by the crowds, by the pressure. They just went and played their brand of baseball. Don't feel like they really ever got to do that this weekend. I think they came out maybe a little bit tentative. I don't think that goes to coaching. I think sometimes that's just what happens when you're talking about 18 to 23-year-olds. Just a little bit tentative, a little bit on the back foot, maybe a little bit on their heels, and Oklahoma just jumped them. Remember the scene in The Christmas Story where Ralphie gets the drop on Scott Farkas and just starts wailing on him? Finally gets his revenge on the bully. This is not to say that Oklahoma is as virtuous as Ralphie and that Kansas is the bully like Scott Farkas. The analogy is the fight. You got to take the fight to the other team. Oklahoma did that, both on the mound and at the plate. That's what they did. And that's baseball for you. Oklahoma won the matchups decisively that all of the data, all 50-plus games worth of information that we had about these two teams coming in would have suggested would have been Kansas's advantages. The power department and the pitching department. Oklahoma was not just better, they were dramatically better. And sometimes that happens in a short series. In a small sample size, a guy like Dayton Taki, who came in with 6 home runs on the season as a whole, turns into Babe Ruth. That's baseball for you. One of my biggest pet peeves in the sports discourse at large, one of the dumbest aspects of the sports discourse, is that every time we get into the college sports postseason, every single result becomes a referendum on the conferences of the teams involved. Does not pass notice that of the 8 teams heading to Omaha next weekend for the College World Series, 5 of them are from the SEC. An SEC team, a middle-of-the-pack SEC team, an SEC team that went 0-1 and done in the SEC tournament, losing to a team in the process that, by the way, did not even make the NCAA tournament, was able to come out to Lawrence and not just beat Kansas, but dominate Kansas. And so the dialogue goes, this must be further proof of SEC superiority, or this must be further proof of Big 12 inferiority. And that's just not a place I'm willing to go with this discourse. That's especially true in a sport like baseball in a best of three. Sometimes stuff just happens. Sometimes a team rolls out two freshmen and they don't look like freshmen. They pitch with poise and stuff beyond their years. Full credit to both of Oklahoma's freshman starters this weekend for doing exactly that. It doesn't have anything to do with what league they're in, and everything to do with those kids did a job. Those kids were really good. And look, let's be frank. If you got a team turning to a freshman in game one of a series, they're either out of arms or that freshman's really good and they can handle it. And Cord Rager could handle it. For the record, Rager missed some time this season with a lat injury. Who's to say what Oklahoma's record might have been if that kid had been their Friday night starter throughout the season instead of missing a handful of weeks of action, including missing the SEC tournament. So I'm not here for the SEC of it or this proves how far behind the Big 12 is if this is what happens to their league champion. After all, West Virginia didn't get bullied by a West Coast team, although let's be real honest about Cal Poly and their relative quality compared to Oklahoma. But West Virginia went out and they took care of business. They were at home against an opponent that on paper was inferior. In fact, you go back, we talked about some of the numbers. Jamie Plunkett of Base 12 ran the simulations, ran the numbers. Kansas had better odds against Oklahoma than West Virginia did against Cal Poly. But West Virginia walked a mud hole in Cal Poly because they took the fight to the Mustangs. They were on the front foot, and Kansas never could get on the front foot, and that's why they're going home. It was an incredible ride for Kansas baseball, a season that has truly redefined what is possible for the program. And it's going to lead to a growth in investment, both financial and emotional, that will help the program grow. The long-term impact of what this season was will be seen in fuller bleachers at the Hog for years to come. Probably more bleachers at the Hog in years to come. More bleachers, better facilities, maybe an indoor training facility for the baseball team, which they currently lack. Maybe a higher standard in recruiting beyond just being the best at junior college recruiting, which Kansas has been for the last 3 years running. Nobody is ever going to forget the 2026 Kansas Jayhawk baseball team, who was a part of it, who was there for the ride. You'll never forget those guys. But it's also okay to live in the disappointment a little bit right now, because Kansas was 2 wins away from something the program had never accomplished, and not only did not just not get there, didn't just lose. Pratfall fell on their face, got blown out twice. And it is understandable right now if the whole thing feels a bit like a mirage. If the whole thing feels like, did it really happen? It's kind of how it goes in every sport, right? You get to the playoffs, or you get to a conference championship game, or you get to a finals, and then you get rubbed off the map, which is what happened to Kansas over the last 3 days. Feels like, man, maybe this was a fluke. Maybe this was an accident. Maybe this wasn't really deserved. Maybe this wasn't really earned. It feels that way in the moment. It's okay to feel that way in the moment. But I'm telling you right now, nothing was a fluke that those Jayhawks accomplished on the diamond this season. Those feelings, the disappointment, that's going to fade with time. It may always linger. You'll think about the 2026 Jayhawks and think, man, what if 2 more wins? What if it could have gone to Omaha to see these guys? What if that could have been a new standard for Kansas baseball? And that hurt, that disappointment, that may linger. Well, I can promise this. It will linger unless and until Kansas does reach a College World Series at some point in program history. And you now have to concede that can happen at KU. Even if it never felt possible before, it feels possible now, and it feels possible because of those guys and what they did, and that coach, Dan Fitzgerald, and what he did, and what his staff did, and what Kansas fans did, throwing that party over the last 2 weekends at the Hog. That's the stuff that really matters. That's the stuff that will linger. There's only one team at the end of the season gets to hold the big trophy. Only one team. If that makes the other 300 Division I teams failures, I guess that's one way to look at it. And did Kansas fail this weekend? Unequivocally, yes. Unequivocally did not play their best baseball against a team that did. Give them all the credit. Give Oklahoma all the credit in the world. But Kansas did a lot of winning this year. 45 wins, tying a program record. And all that winning is going to linger around this program a lot longer than 2 days worth of losing. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we'll get your reaction to both KU at the Super Regionals or anything else going on in the world of sports today or this weekend that you want to talk about. I want to hear from you. 785-272-9429 on the text line. 580 Sports Talk on the YouTube for the live chat as well. Got Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated set to join me in about 10 minutes or so. We got the good, bad, ugly from the weekend. We're going to talk about that terrible Brendan Sorsby ruling. We're going to talk about the Royals and their series win in Minnesota. We're going to start our Chiefs countdown to kickoff. We got What Is Wrong With You? We got headlines. We got a great, big, fun show for you on this Monday, and we're so glad you're here on 580 Sports Talk. .330 on 580 Sports Talk. Thanks for being here with us on this Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope you stayed dry as best as possible. Probably not possible if you were out at Hoagland Ballpark last night. We'll have to ask. Spencer Dupuy will be in the 4 o'clock hour. He was there last night. He was there through the weekend covering the games for us. And we'll see how dry Spencer stayed. We had rabbits in our backyard hiding from the rain, the late evening rain we got in the capital city. Even they were trying to stay dry. It was a lot of rain. Got real wet out there. Hope you had a great weekend. Again, we're glad you're here. Lots of good stuff to come on today's 580 Sports Talk. Talking about Kansas baseball, their season coming to an end, swept out of the Supers by Oklahoma, who finished off a 13-2 win over KU today. It was 8-1 in the third inning when the game was suspended last night. So the final 7 innings were played today. It was the bottom of the third. So I guess 6.5, I guess just 6 in total because there was no bottom of the ninth. Carl in the YouTube chat says, I think KU was out of juice after that regional win. May have been lack of experience being there. Maybe next year they will get to Omaha. Carl also adds, it's going to be hard to replicate this year for KU just because of the quality of JUCOs. Kansas has had the number 1 JUCO recruiting class, I believe, the last 3 years. So Dan Fitzgerald and company, they've got a formula. They know what works and what kind of player works for them out of the JUCO ranks. And that is the kind of thing that makes you believe that the way they have built the roster is sustainable. But I think that might be a pretty good point you land on there, Carl, that first point, that maybe the regional win was such an emotional peak for Kansas, winning the conference tournament and accomplishing that, and then getting to host a regional, the emotion of finding out you get to host a regional, and the emotion of hosting it and winning those games in the fashion that they won them. They may have emotionally peaked a week early. That's very possible. That they did feel like a team without as much juice in the tank, where Oklahoma felt, again, and this I think was just represented in how Oklahoma attacked offensively and how Oklahoma attacked on the mound in a way that suggested that they had a little bit more to give. And that's not to say, I mean, gosh, Oklahoma had to win back-to-back on the road against the number 2 national seed and got it done. Like, that had to take a lot out of them. That had to be very emotional for them. But I do wonder if in Kansas's case, they might have pegged the meter a little bit too early. I think that's I think that's a very possible reading of the subject. Thank you for your thoughts, Carl. Appreciate you. Christopher points out that the College World Series, 31% of the SEC. 5 SEC teams out of 8. West Virginia flying the Big 12 flag. Troy repping for the Sun Belt. And North Carolina, the lone ACC representative, after they rallied from a Game 1 loss to beat USC in 3 games and rallied from a late deficit to walk off in Game 3. There's some good baseball this weekend. If you were dialed in on games, unfortunately, the Oklahoma KU games were not good, but Georgia, Mississippi State was bonkers. It was like home run derby, those 2 games out there in Georgia. The North Carolina USC game yesterday was terrific. Some good ball. Real good ball this weekend. Should be some good ball up in Omaha. Unfortunately, not going to include the Jayhawks this season. Mark H. guesses it'll be an SEC team winning it. We'll get to, we'll break down the field a little bit more in headlines. I mean, the odds are good, right? Like 5 of the 8, you would think that an SEC team will win it all. North Carolina's got the juice to go win it. Troy probably an 0-2, although West Virginia plays Troy. That's kind of the drag of this. It's like, if there's a Cinderella in the field, like West Virginia and Troy represent that. If you thought Kansas baseball was in a bad spot, West Virginia didn't even have like a clubhouse for their baseball field a little over a decade ago. Like, they changed in the parking lot. Like, that's how far that program has come. And now they're in Omaha. So they're a bit of an underdog story, even as a national seed. Troy certainly is and every year it feels like you get one of those in Omaha, the mid-major Cinderella run. And unfortunately, they play each other in the first game. So one of those teams is going to be one game away from elimination right off the bat, which I guess you could look at that and say, oh, it's better than both of them maybe losing their first games. At least, one of them is going to get to a point where they're 1-0 and have an advantage. But it's kind of a drag that they play each other right off, in my opinion. It'd be a good tournament, though. Just, wish KU could have been a part of it. But it was not to be. We're going to take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, our NFL insider, Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated and SI.com, will join the show. We'll get Matt's thoughts on everything happening in the National Football League as OTAs continue, as we approach minicamp, as we are less than 100 days away from the start of the NFL season. Matt Verderame joins us next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by our NFL insider, Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, SI.com. He also appears on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network, has his own Patreon, subscriber only, The Matt Verderame Show, and joins us every Monday at this time on 580 Sports Talk. And Matt, we got some breaking Chiefs news to get to. Adam Schefter reporting that the Chiefs are reuniting with L'Jarius Sneed, a one-year deal to bring back the former cornerback to Kansas City. What's your initial reaction, Matt, to this reunion with a player who was instrumental in that Super Bowl championship 3 years ago?
I mean, that's breaking to me. I hadn't seen that. Been running around all day. Look, I think for the Chiefs, there's no downside to it. Now, look, maybe he just contributes nothing. Maybe he's not even on the opening day roster. He's played 12 games in the last 2 years. Okay, his last year in Kansas City, which was his best year, the best year of his career, 2023, he was amazing. He was robbed of All-Pro and Pro Bowl honor. That year, by the end of the season, his camp was literally hoping and wishing week by week that knee would hold up, because they were not sure if that thing was going to be able to stay connected for another couple of weeks, a week, a Super Bowl, what have you. It did. He got paid. He worked as hard as he could to keep the knee healthy. Couldn't do it. Okay, now Tennessee, look, new coaching staff this offseason. Mike Borgonzi in his second year coming in, trying to clear off some of the older players, money, clear the decks. For Sneed, it's a reunition with Spagnuolo, who he thrived in his system. It is knowing that system is the back of his hand. I would imagine he looks at it like it's me, it's Jaden Kennedy, and Kadir Kohu. And if I'm healthy, I'm winning that job because he's got it. If he's healthy, he's clearly the best player. But it is a massive if for a guy who has not been healthy truly since that Super Bowl win against the Niners.
Do you read this from the Chiefs' perspective as we need another veteran voice, a proven guy in the room in what has become kind of a young cornerback room over the last couple of years? Or do you read it more as they've gotten into OTAs and they're getting their first look at their cornerback room and feeling like, okay, maybe we don't have a solution, like you said, in that slot role, and here's a guy who can come in and compete, who knows the system?
I think it's a couple of things. I do think the experience helps because he's going to be another coach on the field, or at least in theory he ought. I also think that if you're looking at their cornerback room as a whole, you've got Nance Verderame, no doubt making the team. Kennedy, barring a miracle, he's making the team. Then you've got a whole bunch of new. You got Kohu. You have Connor, who is he going to be there? Is he not? Is he going to play safety is what I'm driving at? Are they going to list him as a safety finally and put him where he belongs? You have obviously Noah Williams. He's on the team. But then after that, there's just a ton of question marks. Kevin Knowles going to make team? Maybe, maybe not. Christian Roland Wallace, I would think in some capacity he's going to be there, but it's not a lock. Christian Fulton played 2 games for them essentially last year. The Chiefs just actively benched him all season long. Is he all of a sudden a lock now? I don't know. And then there's Kyrie Elam, who they brought in as a lottery ticket. So, look, I think while that room is not without talent and without answers, I also think that room's got a lot of questions. And the Chiefs probably looked at it like, look, if he can't play, if he's not healthy, what's their loss? Nothing. But if he can play and he can give us even 50% of the snaps, that's an enormous win. So, I think it's both, but in the end, it's all about health. If he's healthy, he's a terrific player. But it's this looming question about how much is left in him physically.
Man, Verderame is our guest. He is our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Covers the league for Sports Illustrated and SI.com and joins us every Monday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Matt, keeping up with your work over at SI.com. Last week, you had a piece, the 5 best teams in the AFC post-A.J. Brown trade. Here's the question I want to ask you. Narrowing it down to 5, how big do you consider the contender class to be in the AFC? How many teams in the conference are there where if we're sitting here in January and they're playing in a conference championship game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl, you would feel like, there's a version of that world I can see unfolding here as we sit on June 8th. How big is that AFC contender class?
That's the conference. I mean, I really feel that way. I think you could make a case for Buffalo, New England, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Houston, Jacksonville, Denver, Kansas City. Some people would argue you can make a case for the Steelers or the Chargers. So you really want to go that far? You say 10. I don't personally feel that way. I just can't see Rodgers winning both playoff games. And the Chargers, to me, what has changed? What has significantly changed that they're anything more than a wild card team? And frankly, I don't even think they're that. I don't think they're a playoff team this year if you look at the roster. I think for me, in that piece, the Bills were 1, the Chiefs were 2. And I'll be very blunt. I had a very hard time ranking Kansas City because I sat there and looked at them for about 10 minutes and said, how do I rank them ahead of the Pats, who I put 3rd? But then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, how do I not? I don't even think the Patriots are a playoff team. I have them 3rd, but I think because of their schedule, I think they're going to miss out. And I don't think Cincinnati's as good as New England, but I think their schedule's so much easier. I think they're going to finish with a better record. So, power rankings don't always just equate to, I think those teams are in. I look at the Chiefs, and to me, it's the hardest and yet the easiest question for me. What is Patrick Mahomes? And if the answer is healthy, I think that team bounces back. I do. And if he's not, they're screwed. They're not even going to sniff the playoffs. Buffalo, I put them number 1. I could have put them 4th. I mean, you're talking about a team that, love Josh Allen. And the reason I put them 1 is because they have Allen and he's healthy. But Joe Brady, people in Buffalo spent 6 months last year screaming to fire him, and they promoted him. I have no faith in Brandon Beane. I didn't particularly love their offseason. I think that team is getting old in spots. They're going from a 4-3 to a 3-4. And then you have a team like Baltimore. I didn't put in my top 5 because other than 3 big-time names, Flowers, Henry, Jackson, what is that football team? The line's not good. They have no tight end that scares anymore. There's no depth anywhere. Henry's 33 years old. Jackson has been hurt consistently over the last 5 years. It's you could make for and against arguments for Houston has no offense. They got a great defense. Jacksonville, how much of that is sustainable? Cincinnati, can they stop anyone? Can they hold anybody under 35 points? It's the Broncos. What is Bo Nix? The guy led the league in passing attempts last year and didn't have 4,000 yards. There are just so many variables, and I tend to just believe in the star quarterbacks when you go into that uncertain area.
We were pretty sold on the depth of the AFC last year at this time. I'm pretty certain we felt, and the quarterback caliber was why we felt the way we did, that the AFC had a lot more depth to it than the NFC. And I forget at which point it pivoted last year, but certainly by the time the playoffs rolled around, we were looking at the playoffs saying, yeah, whoever comes out of the NFC, and it's probably going to be either the Rams or Seahawks, they're gonna have their way with whoever comes out of the AFC. So obviously things change. But looking at the NFC, do you sense at this stage of the offseason, do you feel like that there is as much depth in the NFC's contender class, or is it simply a matter of the NFC's contender class being led by the defending champs and the on-paper best team in football right now?
I got to be honest. This is a year to me where if you want to picture it visually, the Rams are at the top of the mountain and everybody else is trying to chase. That's some years you go into the league and you just have no consensus. Any of these 8 teams go in the Super Bowl. And some years you go into it and you say that team is clearly the best team in the league. Usually over the last decade, one of those teams has been New England or Kansas City. And you say everybody's chasing them. And this year to me, everybody's chasing the Rams. Now, it's a little bit different, though, because a lot of those years with the Pats and Chiefs, those teams are coming off Super Bowl. Certainly off appearances. The Rams didn't get to the Super Bowl last year. The Rams almost lost to Carolina in the wild card game, and I was at that game in Chicago where, frankly, they should have lost. And Williams throws a bad pick at the end of the game in overtime, and it bailed the Rams out. The Rams in that game were on death's door and got bailed out. Now, I think they are the best team. They went to the NFC title game. They were right there, and they added Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Myles Garrett. That team is loaded. They are also one injury away to their 38-year-old quarterback from Stetson Bennett or Ty Simpson coming in, and it's over. It is the dream's dead at that point. So, I don't see the NFC as that much better. The NFC South and the NFC East, in my opinion, are terrible. And then you get into I don't know what to make of the North. I don't really believe in the Packers or Vikings. I like the Lions offensively. Defensively, they concern you. The Bears, I like. But Williams, there's still a lot of questions there. And then you get to the West. Look, got to give Seattle their respect. They're going to be good again. The Niners, big question with them is always health. They should be good. But I think there's the Rams as the favorite. And then there's probably 7 teams. Seattle, San Fran, the Bears, the Chiefs, the Bills, throwing the Texans, who you feel like they could win it all. But out of all the things I just mentioned, you can also make a case for most of them. They could just flat out miss the playoffs. So it's a very, very, very interesting year.
A couple more questions for our NFL insider, Matt Verderame, who joins us every week here on 580 Sports Talk on Mondays at this time. Matt covers the league for Sports Illustrated and SI.com. Russell Wilson called it a career last week, putting to rest any speculation that he might put aside his television duties with CBS to give one more shot at some playing time next year. Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer, Matt?
It's funny you ask. I've got a piece coming out on Sports Illustrated tomorrow where I asked 8 different voters anonymously if you had to cast a deciding vote, Russell Wilson or Eli Manning. You can only pick one. Your vote decides who gets in, who gets the vote. Of the 8 voters, 5 said Russell Wilson. I was actually kind of surprised by that, honestly, but not shocked. But I figured the Super Bowls and Russ plays grand. I think he will get it. I had a couple voters say to me they didn't think either one of them were worthy. I had a couple who said they're clearly both worthy. And then I had a couple who felt one way or the other. I think now, mind you, for everyone listening out there who's maybe not aware of the process, you have to get 80% of the vote. Okay, so 50% is not cutting it. And that's where this becomes a problem. Like, it's not about one or the other. And he's not going against Eli Manning, although in this hypothetically he was. You're talking about a situation where it's going to be him against, first ballot, the J.J. Watts of the world and Larry Fitzgerald and all these, and the quarterbacks were clearly Hall, Aaron Rodgers, that type of player. I think it's going to be that he gets in. I think it is also going to be that it takes him a very, very long time to get in.
I would argue for him to get in. One, because I'm a Seahawks fan. I think they should put everybody from the Super Bowl 48 championship team in, up to and including Jermaine Kearse. But also, I know the Pro Bowl is a little bit overrated now to the point where everybody has been to a Pro Bowl. You've been to a Pro Bowl. I've been to a Pro Bowl. Shedeur Sanders has been to a Pro Bowl. But Russell Wilson went to 10 of them. And I feel like when you go to that many of them, that speaks, I think, a little bit more to longevity and excellence in a way that I think bolsters a Hall of Fame argument.
Yeah, I mean, look, you make 10 Pro Bowls, and 9 of them were legitimate. I mean, the one with the Steelers wasn't. 9 of them were legit, and he had some years where he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Now, the argument against him is he's one of the very few quarterbacks who won a Super Bowl and was not the driving force of the team. The defense was the driving force. Marshawn Lynch was the driving force. And it doesn't mean he wasn't a big part of it. He wasn't the leading character in the play.
Sure.
And then he left because he wanted to leave. And he got traded. And he was horrendous. That's the thing. I think if there's one thing, look, the pick to Malcolm Butler is going to matter because it's going to stick in everybody's mind. But I think in the end, that doesn't hold him out. If he doesn't get in, it's going to be because when it was his show, the whole let Russ cook, he was horrific. Now, you could argue that was just because it was the end of his career and Denver wasn't any good and he had Nathaniel Hackett and yada, yada, yada. And for the record, I'm not a Hall of Fame voter. If I had a vote, I think he belongs to Hall of Fame. I do. I think that he clearly was good enough, long enough. He won a ring. He went to 2 Super Bowls. But I think it's going to take a while. And I don't think if that throw to Ricardo Lockett is caught, if they run the ball in the end zone, he's a first ballot Hall of Fame. And that's the reality. And if Manning doesn't complete that helmet catch, he's not sniffing the Hall of Fame. But he did. And that's the world we live in.
Man, Verderame covers the National Football League for Sports Illustrated. SI.com appears on that football show. The KC Sports Network has his own Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show, and is our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk, joining us every Monday. Matt, all the best to your New York Knicks tonight. 2 wins away from the first title of your lifetime. I'm afraid to jinx it for you, man.
Sheer terror. Excitement, but sheer and unadulterated terror.
I went through the same thing 3 years ago during the NBA Finals, so I know exactly where you're coming from. All the best, Matt. Appreciate you as always. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We'll step aside for a timeout, come back with the good, the bad, the ugly from the sports weekend that was to wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the sports weekend that was. I had a lot of good from my own personal weekend. My son's birthday was Saturday, and I'll touch on that a little bit. We'll have some sincerity hours coming up in the 5 o'clock hour if you'll indulge me. My good from the sports weekend, there was a lot of really good college baseball. Unfortunately, none of it in Lawrence. But Noah Cameron was sure a pleasure to watch yesterday for the Royals. 7 outstanding innings of work, allowing the Royals to win the series 3-1 over the Minnesota Twins, though the bullpen did make hard work of it in the ninth. We'll get to that later on in the show as well. But Noah Cameron's outing, truly stellar stuff. My bad, unfortunately, got to say it's KU's offense. Only 3 runs in 2 games. That's not how you get Capone. That's not how you get to Omaha. The Jayhawk bat, so potent throughout the season, so potent in the regionals, falling silent in the super regionals against Oklahoma. A pair of freshman pitchers really sticking it to the Jayhawks this weekend. My ugly, the Wichita Wind Surge are rebranding. They will become full-time. They will assume one of their alternate identities full-time and become the Wichita Turbo Tubs. A nod to the bathtub races that used to be part of Riverfest, and I hear will be again. So congratulations to Wichita baseball. You went from having one of the most inexplicable brandings in all of minor league baseball with the Wind Surge to just flat out the worst. Turbo Tubs is nonsense. It sounds like you're talking about fast, fat guys. It calls to mind the Turbo Team from I Think You Should Leave. It's a bad nickname. The logos are bad. It's all bad. We're talking Brendan Sorsby. And we're talking about the Chiefs and the countdown to kickoff. Coming up next hour, 580 Sports Talk. Well, let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, hour number 2 on a Monday. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. And if you're watching on video, you already know, but if you're not, let me tell you, the gang's all here. That includes Brendan Sorsby, who is making a surprise unscheduled appearance today. What's up, man?
I'm good. Did not have to put up barricades or cancel the outside watch parties for me to show up today.
No 2-hour wait to get into the studio.
No, they did not
shut
down public transit for me to get here. I'm actually a little insulted that they didn't, but that's okay.
More on that, not much more, coming in the 5 o'clock hour in the playoff roundup. Spencer Dupuis is also across the glass as well. So the gang is all here for this all-important 4 o'clock. It must be all-important because everybody's here.
It's like Game 5.
On 580 Sports Talk today.
Unfortunately, no KU baseball going on.
No KU baseball going on. Nope. The Jayhawks are donezo.
But they made it to Monday.
They did. That was the goal after Saturday, was get to Monday.
They were the last. That was the last series to end. Because as soon as they went final, the World Series was set.
Yeah.
So KU, despite losing, made it all the way to the last day of Super.
Last team eliminated. Team number 9.
Do not ask for context.
They only sent 8 to Omaha. Yeah, only won Game 3 in the Super Regionals. It was in the USC North Carolina series. Boy, USC choked on applesauce in the 9th inning of that game.
How do you take your closer out then, man? You kill he's going to transfer. He was a junior. You take him out. He's up 3-0, I think 1 on.
The pitching change with a 3-0 count. There is nothing more college baseball than the mid-count pitching change.
I would not be surprised if his name is in the transfer portal.
Well, I don't know anything about the young man other than he couldn't throw strikes, and desperate times call for desperate measures. The one thing, though, I do want to see eradicated from college baseball, apparently the offensive timeout is a thing. Get that out of my face. They called it the coach at North. So they make the pitching change. Watching North Carolina USC yesterday and watching it with my dad, who was in town for the weekend. And they make the pitching change at 3-0. Kid comes in, pumps a strike. Okay, 3-1. And the head coach for North Carolina, who's also the third base coach, calls an offensive timeout. And all they're talking about is, so do you want to put on the take sign or what do you think we should do here? If you can't make that decision on the fly to put on the take sign or not, you shouldn't be coaching. Make the call. Either put the take sign on or don't, or trust your player. But it doesn't take a minute. That's never taken a minute to decide in the history of baseball.
Think it was just mind games?
Probably, but that's even dumber. Don't build in an opportunity for mind games in college baseball. The pitching already sucks enough. You don't need to play mental games with. That's I watched a lot of Georgia-Mississippi State series. It was a home run derby.
Yeah.
Just bomb after bomb after bomb. Hit a corner one time. 96 looks great on a radar gun. It's going to get you drafted. Hit a corner with it one time. Anyway, I get grumpy about college baseball. I really do. The more I watch it, which is the majority that I watch is the postseason, and I'm always reminded why I don't follow from start to finish, dedicated. Hey, hold my calls. It's Friday night, big series in the Atlantic 10 or whatever.
I was thinking about that the other night. That I did really enjoy the KU run. I mean, it was fun. They were,
and you should have.
They were such an ultimate college baseball kind of underdog team. Love all of those dudes when they're on your team. Probably dislike any of them on other teams. But they got that JUCO dog in them kind of thing. Really enjoyed that run. That's probably it. I'm not going to watch a pitch of Omaha. I didn't watch any of the other supers.
I respect that.
It's not for me.
I understand.
It's not.
It's a lot of bunting. There's a lot of mid-count pitching changes. And it's not a lot of good pitching. There's a lot of taunting and chest thumping and bro behavior.
I know this makes me sound a million years old and dude, get over yourself. I hate the ping. I hate it. It just grates on me.
It's not honestly, it's not as exaggerated as it used to be. Back when they were using
before the BB Core days?
Yeah, before the BB Core days. So back when they were using rocket launcher bats and scoring 24 runs in a College World Series championship game. back in the before times, it was a much more exaggerated ping. We're glad you're here with us on 580 Sports Talk today. We're going to talk about the biggest sports news of the day. Brendan Sorsby is, for now, eligible to play in 2026 for Texas Tech. And
For now.
nobody, and I mean nobody, is happy about it. We'll also begin our countdown to Chiefs Kickoff. We're 98 days away from Monday night at Arrowhead Stadium when the Chiefs and the Broncos wrap up week 1. So we'll start our Chiefs Kickoff. Countdown to kickoff. 98 days out. Unfortunately, number 98, VJ Anthony, we are not devoting a whole segment to you because I don't really know who you are, brother, and I don't expect you to stick around for the 53. So we'll just talk about some other Chiefs-related things instead on our countdown to Chiefs Kickoff. We'll reset. We'll go back to number 99, which was yesterday, and we'll talk about Peter Woods because I think he's much more interesting to talk about. We also got What Is Wrong With You?
Contract today. Too.
Yes, he did. We also have What Is Wrong With You coming up this hour as well. Want to hear from you on the text line? 785-272-9429 is the number. Texter from the 316 agrees with my ugly from the weekend. Turbo Tubs is by far the absolute worst name in the history of sports. Borderline embarrassing. They should be called the Boeing 747s at this point. Honestly, 747s would be a better name.
I had gotten used to wind surge. Like, it's dumb.
Wind surge was obviously bad, but it was just kind of existed.
Kansas is windy. Like, okay.
The Wichita Wind hockey team had existed before, so it wasn't like totally unprecedented to name a team after the weather.
And this year, they have one of the millions of alternate identities. It's a goose, and they're the Honkers. I love that.
Yeah,
like,
Wichita
that's a
Honkers
great
kind of
minor league name. Instead, this. It sucks.
They could have been Keepers. They could have gone back to the Wranglers. They could have gone back to the Arrows. There's so much they could have done that was not Turbo Tubs.
Yeah, it stinks. That was your ugly?
Yeah, it's my ugly.
Yeah, my ugly would have been KU.
Shout out to
my ugly was the rain delay last night.
Shout out to the Turbo team. Does this ever happen to you?
If I can offer a bad real quick.
Sure.
Well, a good, my kid turned 18 months. Not quite 2 years like Dan's son, but it's unbelievable. She's learned to say, I don't know, and put her hands out. I don't know. Which, oh my God, it's incredible. My bad's actually a sad. I'd like to pass my condolences on to Stacey King, the family of Stacey King. In these parts, honestly, probably known best for being the best player on the 88 Oklahoma team, the national runners-up, lost to Danny and the Miracles. He was an incredible college player. 6th overall pick the following year's NBA draft, was on the first 3 Bulls championship teams. Bulls color commentator on TV for the last 19 years. Tragically died at 59 yesterday.
Yeah.
Just awful. Love that guy. Absolutely love that guy.
Hope wherever he's at, they're giving him the hot sauce.
Woo!
Yeah,
Do you know how to post videos to Facebook?
I want to go higher. I love Stacey King.
What are you doing, Dragic? Did you get the memo? Oh, I love that guy.
He was one of the best. Yeah, the text line 785-272-9429. You can also hop in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, who are chatting with us today.
Every time I play pickup, I still yell, give me the hot sauce every time I hit a 3.
And T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Color commentators have a internet soundboard that lives forever. Stacey was one of the best. All right. Today is, without any exaggeration, one of the darkest days in the history of college sports. And I believe it is not a stretch to say that the ramifications of what has transpired today in a Lubbock County courthouse could ultimately make it one of the darkest days in sports history. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA, which allows him to play in the 2026 college football season after he serves a self-imposed by the university 2-game suspension rather than suffering the permanent loss of eligibility based upon his gambling activities, including betting on his own team while he played at the University of Indiana. The injunction states from Judge Judge Ken Curry, not from Lubbock, but brought to Lubbock to adjudicate this case from Fort Worth.
Yes. You're going to see a lot, by the way, online that he's a Houston grad.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where his daughter went to school?
Huh. What do you know? Here is the key portion of the injunction. This court finds that applicant has demonstrated that he will suffer a probable, imminent, and irreparable injury if this court does not issue this temporary injunction because he will be unable to participate as a member of Texas Tech University's 2026 football team. Now, this injunction, this ruling does not grant eligibility or argue that Brendan Sorsby should be eligible, but it argues that he should be able to make the argument on appeal. So he is being given a stay to be able to participate while the appeals process goes forward. It also, this is one of the many problems with it, treats playing football in college as a right that is being infringed upon and not a privilege that can be lost upon breaking the rules. For instance, gambling on your own team. That Brendan Sorsby's football future is potentially altered if he does not play in 2026 is not in question, but that is not the rules' fault. That is not the NCAA's fault. That is Brendan Sorsby's fault for breaking the rule that you are not allowed to break. Nobody cares that gambling is legal and prevalent. Nobody cares that Brendan Sorsby didn't feel connected to his team at Indiana without getting down a little action on the games. Frankly, nobody should care that Brendan Sorsby is a demonstrated gambling addict. Imagine making this argument for a drunk driver who hurt somebody in a wreck. It's not really fair to penalize them for it. They're addicted. Don't throw them in jail. That wouldn't be fair. The rule is the rule. You follow it or you deal with the consequences. And the rule is in place because it has to be in place. This is the red line. Gambling on your own team's games is the line that cannot be crossed because it throws the competitive integrity of the entire institution of the sport into question. It should not be and cannot be negotiable. And if the wages of this sin against sports is a 2-game suspension, a self-imposed slap on the wrist that will cause Sorsby to miss 0 conference games, he'll miss the Abilene Christian and Oregon State games. If that's it, if that's the only penalty, why would anyone be incentivized to follow gambling rules? Why would anyone be incentivized to follow a single one of the NCAA's rules? And the NCAA knows this is bad news. The statement from the organization today. The NCAA strongly disagrees with the court's ruling in Sorsby's case and is deeply concerned about the damaging, far-reaching, and broadly destabilizing ramifications of this outcome, which undermines and corrupts the integrity of sports. The NCAA is committed to supporting student-athlete mental health, but must continue to aggressively defend against actions that defraud college athletics and threaten competitive integrity, such as betting on one's own sport. A shorter version of that quote would be, it's effing BS. Those aren't the words of the NCAA, but those are the words on the record of Kansas State Athletic Director Gene Taylor, who told Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger, quote, it's effing BS. That is obviously not the extent of the quote, but it is the extent that I can give you. Further from Taylor, I know the kid has a problem. Well, get well and focus on your problem. It is absolutely devastating for him to be able to play when every other sport, no matter the level, deems an athlete ineligible or punishes them severely for betting on their team. Taylor also told Dellinger that there had been conversations at the administrative level about Big 12 teams refusing to play Texas Tech. Quote from Taylor, we've had some serious conversation about it. There is still a lot to be discussed. We aren't scheduled to play them this year, but it's something we have to look at from a college football perspective. This is greater than the Big 12. Going beyond the gridiron, Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks, a member of the NCAA Football Oversight Committee, told Yahoo Sports today, I think there needs to be serious conversations about not playing Texas Tech in any sports. This is not about Texas Tech. It's about protecting our own locker room. We cannot in good conscience put our student athletes on the field where the competitive integrity of the contest is compromised and overridden by the courts. If a state court wants to dictate eligibility rules, they can play themselves. All FBS schools should only take the field against programs operating under a uniform, trustworthy standard of fairness. We've officially reached the point of no return. Guys, I can't say it better than Gene Taylor did.
Yeah, I mean, this is terrible for the sport. And it's easy, especially given the climate of everything for the better part of a decade at this point, to have a very over-the-top solution to a problem, and to have it called out for, you're overreacting, that this is too much, you're going too far. I don't really think there's anything that is going too far in this regard. I saw someone suggest that at the very least, the Power Four conferences should all get together to write an amicus brief for when this eventually goes back to court on appeal. I agree. I think this should involve Charlie Baker, the head of the NCAA. I think this should involve the entirety of the P4. I think it should involve the G6. I think it should involve D2 and D3 conferences. Like, this is sports.
This is existential.
Like, if you, and of course, this argument about Brendan Sorsby is brought to you by FanDuel. Like, if we're at a point, if you cannot separate advertising for Joe Blow to put down a same-game parlay and, hey, player at college or on team, you cannot gamble on the game because it means inherently that there is now no integrity in that game. Like, come on. Those are so obviously and clearly different things. And I agree with you completely with the other points that you brought up there, Dan. Like, sorry, and G. Taylor mentioned, I'm sorry you have an addiction. Clearly, but 90,000 bets down or whatever it was? Like, clearly you've got a problem. You know what your second chance is? You go to rehab, and you come out and you don't do that anymore. Your second chance isn't, oh, cool, I get to play the Baylor game this year. Yeah, that's not how that works.
Your life isn't over. You're not being thrown into prison for life. You're being told you can't play football for a year. That's not football is not a right.
No.
It is a privilege. It doesn't matter if you're Brendan Sorsby or if you're the last guy on the roster on the worst Division III team in America. Football is not a right that the NCAA or a rule would infringe upon. Football is a privilege. It can be taken away from you if you break the rule. And this is the rule across all sports that holds it up. This is the existential rule that ties sports together as being credible, as being legitimate, and it is the red line you absolutely cannot cross. And this court ruling today essentially says the NCAA does not have the right to enforce not just this rule, but any of their rules.
And the wording of this injunction is ridiculous. Like, the whole principle of it is ridiculous. But this court finds that applicant, Sorsby, has demonstrated that he will suffer a probable, imminent, and irreparable injury if this court does not issue this temporary injunction because he will be unable to participate as a member of the football team. Yeah, that's called a consequence.
Right, that's the point.
That's the entire basis of human existence, cause and effect. Action and consequence. That is what we live through every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that you are going to be on Fox 8 times and ESPN another 4 times. I'm sorry this is going to cost you some NIL opportunities and it's going to cost you a couple of touchdown passes. That's a bummer. Maybe you should have gone to rehab earlier before you bet on your own team. You cannot do that. You have never. Go ask anyone. This has come up, my favorite NFL podcast. I mention it all the time on the show, Football 301. It's at Yahoo. Nate Tice, Matt Harmon. Great show. And they had a conversation a few weeks ago about next year's draft class. Just like, hey, we just finished this draft. By the way, let's look at next year when it's one of the greatest quarterback prospect groups ever. Will it be great in the end? Who knows? But prospect-wise, big time. And they got to Sorsby. And, he said he wasn't going to come out. He transfers to Texas Tech. Now, that's the other thing. This dude hasn't even played a snap at Texas Tech. You're debasing your entire university for a kid who's going to be there for 8 months, if that. That's crazy. But they were talking about this, and Nate Tice, who played college football at UCF and at the University of Wisconsin. He was Russ Wilson's backup at Wisconsin. His dad was an NFL head coach, longtime O-line coach, longtime offensive coordinator. The guy grew up in college and NFL locker rooms. He said, you cannot at any level escape being told you do not do this. It is on posters. It is in your handbook. It is in notes. It is on the wall. It is in the stadium. Your coach and your position coaches tell you verbally constantly.
You have compliance meetings before every season.
And that has been the rule forever across sports and certainly in college sports. I don't feel a lick of sympathy. Well, we had a problem. I hope he gets help for it. But that does not change that it happened. And it did happen, and you have to live with the consequences. And it is ridiculous that we live in a time where you can just go judge shop and get away from any sort of consequence. And that is why I really do hope, and when's the last time I sided with the NCAA on anything? I take that back. Talia Tagovailoa, when he wanted a 7th year, even though he clearly had no case for it. I was on their side then. But, like, all the conferences and Charlie Baker and his deputies and all the power brokers of any level not named Cody freaking Campbell, what a doofus that guy is. Every single one of them should be against this, because if they're not, this is it. The NCAA is done. It's over.
Yes. This is – go ahead, Spencer.
You sign up for something, you know there are certain things you can and can't do, like our jobs. We can't go on the radio dropping cuss words. We'd be fired too.
Mm-hmm.
No, like you know what you're getting into. You have to uphold these standards, and now they're just throwing it out the window because it's college football. Like, that's ridiculous.
So everybody is upset about this. I mean, you can go through David Ubben, a friend of the program, has some sources from The Athletic, people from the college football world who are aghast at this ruling. Dan Wetzel heard from a Big 12 coach and also uses the word aghast. That's probably where it came from for me. This Big 12 coach anonymously told Dan Wetzel, if this is the precedent, I owe it to my players to bring in people from Las Vegas to teach us how to gamble. Then collectively, we need to decide which games we will play hard in and which ones we won't. I'm supposed to do what's best for my players, and in that case, they would be able to make a lot of money betting on our games. That's the precedent for me. Like, that is essentially what is being said. And the ruling, again, from the judge. The judge is not saying that the rule shouldn't exist. He is just saying that the NCAA doesn't have any right to enforce it without a higher court ruling. There is precedent, recent precedent, of a temporary injunction being issued and then the case being heard in short enough order that it was ultimately overturned in the favor of the NCAA. The Charles Bediako situation. If you remember that from the college basketball season. Charles Bediako had signed an NBA contract. He was trying to come back and play at Alabama. He got a temporary restraining order against the NCAA. He was eligible for, I think, like 5 games. Mm-hmm. And then the court heard the case. They sided with the NCAA. He lost his restraining order, and he lost his eligibility. The NCAA was able to enforce their rule in that case. If this isn't heard in enough time to get through before this season is played, then Brendan Sorsby is going to play this season. And then what does Texas Tech care if he loses his eligibility? What does Texas Tech care if the NCAA has the power to enforce this rule? He's just going to get to play. They stopped caring. This is wholly transactional for Texas Tech. They quit caring about Brendan Sorsby the minute the college football season ends. They don't care about this. They don't care about his gambling problem. They don't care a lick about him. All they care about is getting a $5 million quarterback on the field and maybe trying to score a point in a playoff game this year.
Okay, and there's the other thing, too. And to kind of make this a more macro societal thing, and I'm sorry if I'm going a little too far here, but what happened to shame? Like, I've made that point with the former G League player, the Bediako, and Najee at Baylor. Like, shouldn't you be an adult? Like, shouldn't you grow up at some point, have a little shame? And it's the same thing here with both Brendan Sorsby and with Texas Tech. For Tech, if I'm their president, chancellor, CEO, whatever their title is, how are you not extremely embarrassed? Your school is now being dragged through the mud because some billionaire who thinks he's Batman because he put on the pajamas and an AD with a hair trigger are now making you look bad. And you're supporting that? Debasing your whole university? That's jacked up. And if you're Sorsby, brother, I hate to be blunt, everyone hates you now. Everyone hates you except like the most online of Texas Tech fans, because I know for a fact, because I know some, not every Red Raider fan is happy about this. In fact, a lot of them are not, and many more just want it to be over with. Just like, can we just move on? Like, whatever. Let what's his name be the court? Hammond? Is that
Will Hammond?
Will Hammond. Like, once he gets healthy in week 3, just roll with there. Who cares? Like, how do you not feel like, maybe is everyone else wrong? Of course they are. I'm right. I won a few of those 90,000 bets. Of course I'm right. Like, have some shame. Have a little feeling of guilt and embarrassment. We don't have enough of that these days.
Other comments on this from high-level administrators, coaches, sources. Ross Dellinger from Yahoo quoting one Big 12 athletic director saying this is the lowest point of his time in college sports and saying Texas Tech, quote, should be ashamed of itself.
Yes.
Utah athletic director Mark Harlan said the decision left him, quote, disheartened. Tom Mars, reputable attorney who has won several cases against the NCAA, said, quote, at first I thought it was a joke. From David Ubben of The Athletic, one coach quoted in his article, what are we doing with that ruling? I mean, seriously. One group of six head coach, quoted by David Ubben. Gambling is one of the rules in sports. It's one of the few rules that exist where if you break it, you are now basically getting blackballed from the sport. And now one of the harshest rules you can break, he did it and he can still play. To me, this is one of the worst things I've seen in 20 years of coaching. Here's another Power 4 head coach. That's effing crazy, beyond wild. We have some serious problems that if they don't get fixed, the entire thing is going to implode soon. This has sent shockwaves across the world of college sports. And in the end, this might be the best thing that ever happened to the NCAA, because if the realization now that is set in is that the NCAA isn't capable of enforcing any rules, now there's going to be a lot more public support for Congress allowing the NCAA to enforce its own rules. That's what Charlie Baker is hoping for. He posted on X today in the wake of the ruling, there is no better example of why targeted intervention from Congress is necessary when you have schools and deep-pocketed supporters willing to look the other way on the glaring integrity threat of betting on your own team, and judges whose rulings effectively strip away our ability to stop them. Only Congress can equip the NCAA to apply this common sense rule to everyone fairly and consistently. The Protect College Sports Act would empower the NCAA to enforce rules, including the gambling restrictions. It's needed now more than ever.
They're doing this over the sixth best quarterback in the Big 12.
Yeah. Think
about that. Like, this isn't 2019 Burrow. This ain't 2010 Cam. This is a fourth round pick.
Yeah, this isn't like the future number one overall pick in the draft. Yeah, this is who Cody Campbell is willing to debase himself for. This is who Texas Tech University is debasing himself for. And it wouldn't matter if he was the number one overall pick.
Right, exactly.
Like, it wouldn't matter if he was that kind of player. But, like, there's precedent here. When North Carolina was under scrutiny, University of North Carolina was under scrutiny for an academic scandal involving their basketball team. They effectively were willing to throw the academic standards of that proud university under the bus so that they wouldn't face any sanctions for their basketball team, to essentially admit that, a degree from here really isn't worth that much. We got to win these basketball games. Hey, Roy Williams ain't going to be here forever. We got to win these basketball games.
Have shame.
Yeah, bring shame back in so many ways. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. Speaking of bringing shame back, what is wrong with you is next on 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk. We've got 2 new stories to start our new week of What is Wrong with You. A fish called Baja Blast ended up as our wire-to-wire winner last week. We'll see if we have a wire-to-wire winner this week.
You ever seen a fish called Wanda?
Yes. Long time ago, though, so my memory of it is a bit hazy.
Yeah, been a minute.
Yeah, I get it confused with the basketball one. The fish that saved Pittsburgh. They're very different movies.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Very different movies. Julius Erving's only in one. Is it Julius Erving's in the movie? I think it's Julius Erving.
You have not seen it? Are you a big movie guy?
Yeah, it's Julius Erving. Julius Erving's in the fish that saved Pittsburgh.
like, I'll watch movies, but like not old movies.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless it's like a cult, like everybody's like Armageddon, like those kind of movies.
Sure. Someone just heard you call Armageddon an old movie and limped to bed with their walker.
Anywho, for my first story, we got a lot of people that are wrong in this What is Wrong with You story. We're going to Carmel by the Sea, California. A Carmel Unified School District teacher who was arrested last year after allegedly threatening to kill children during a drunken rant.
Oh, gosh.
Is now the focus of a campaign by concerned parents hoping to keep him from being placed at a local elementary school.
Oh, geez.
We ask you to respond with urgency and care to our concerns about a potential teacher placement, said a Tularcitos Elementary School parent. Parents raised those concerns at last Wednesday's Carmel Unified School Board meeting over teacher Christopher DeBellis, whose proposed placement at Tularcitos Elementary has parents worried, so much so they've created an online petition to keep him out. Early last year, DeBellis, who was a teacher at Carmel River School, was arrested after allegedly threatening to kill several children outside the Marina Library. According to court documents, DeBellis first asked if the children spoke English or were foreigners, and then allegedly yelled out, "I'm going to kill you." Those same documents allege DeBellis screamed sexually graphic expletives at female officers who responded to the scene. Parents told school board members DeBellis should not be in a classroom. He had originally been charged with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors. He eventually pled no contest to 1 felony count of false imprisonment, which was later reduced to a misdemeanor against the wishes of prosecutors who opposed the motion. But the ruling potentially saved the teacher's career. He is currently on a leave of absence and will not be returning to a school site for the remainder of this school year because it is a confidential personnel matter. The district is unable to provide any additional details at this time. I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that if you get drunk and threaten to kill children and like scream awful things at female police officers, I think there are some things that should probably end your teaching career. And I think that those are some of those things.
I've got to agree with the individual who said this person does not belong around children. I think that was a very, very wise comment.
Yes. I think he clearly demonstrated that.
Yeah. That's rough. My story today is going to involve a child or a near child, an 18-year-old who attacked a worker at Chipotle in Santa Ana, California.
Wow,
I believe.
Yes. We have double Florida all the time. Double California is rare.
Yeah, double Cali in this one, opposite coast. So a teenager was arrested for her vile attack on a Chipotle worker after surveillance video showed her throwing a burrito bowl in the employee's face. There is a video at the New York Post and MSN. I am going to share a picture for those of you with the video stream.
580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. Get there.
Because the still shot they have of this assault,
it's really
they
good.
Blurred out the employee's face, but they made the blur really small so you can still see all the food exploding off of their head.
Exploding is a valid descriptor here.
I mean, it got some height on it. And this is not a very wide counter. I mean, if you've been to a Chipotle, you know that worker is right there. This was a close range projectile. And this 18-year-old, Samantha Solomon, she rifled that thing into the worker's face. She was arguing at the register with the worker. We are not 100% sure about what. I am going to guess they skimped her on her double chicken.
I want to say, first of all, looking at this picture, that Chipotle is backwards. You're supposed to go left to right down the line. This is a right to left Chipotle, and that doesn't sit well with my soul.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Is it a mirrored camera?
No, it's not mirrored.
The words, the board
text,
are all normal. Yeah.
No.
Ooh, yeah, that's kind of gross.
Yeah, right to left Chipotle, no, absolutely not. Right to left Subway, sure. But Chipotle goes left to right. This is canon.
I was at a left to right Subway yesterday, just actually.
No,
Subway, I can go either way. I guess when I grew up, it was right to left.
Yeah, right. Subway is right to left. Chipotle is left to right.
Wow, I never thought about that before.
I had not either until about 30 seconds
Until
ago.
right now.
And now my head, I got a pretzel in my head.
She has been arrested after a multiple days long quest to find this 18-year-old Ms. Salomon. But she has since been arrested. Official charges have not been listed.
A manhunt.
A manhunt for a teenager.
A manhunt. The manhunt is on for the Chipotle chucker.
Hold on. Paul in the YouTube comments. Carne assaulta.
That's well done.
That's pretty good.
I
I don't think that wins today.
I actually do.
Really?
I like that story better.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
me
that part,
too.
that description is fair.
Yeah, there's not much to it, but I just like it better. Like, it might not be a wire-to-wire winner, but I like the thought of bringing it back tomorrow.
They were closer for this attack than Dan and I are right now at
Yes.
the same table. Like, there's some force behind that burrito
overhand.
bowl.
We always talk when we have thrown food stories, like,
Yeah.
in what fashion do you throw, like, a hot dog or a burrito? But, like, a bowl, no question. It hits overhand, over the top.
Yeah. Burrito and hot dog, you throw tomahawk.
You got to kind of top.
I guess you could sidearm it, kind of
Yeah.
frisbee it.
You could sidearm it. It depends. You could go Dan Quisenberry, you know.
Would you get enough velocity on it going underhand?
Little submarine hot dog.
It's just kind of twisting. Looked like a Carson Beck deep ball.
I'm
just fluttering in the air.
I'm being informed by a texter on the 785, and thank you for this critical information, that the Chipotle on California here in Topeka goes right to left.
I've never been.
I'm shook.
I've only been to the one at 21st and Wanamaker.
Yeah, I've been to that one. I've been to the one in North Topeka, and I believe that. I'm pretty sure that's the left to right. Now I got to really think on this.
I've not been in the one in North Topeka. I've done the pool, the whatever
drive-through.
Yeah, so
So whatever
I can't even,
the pull through. Yes.
yeah, I can't even think about it.
The one in North Topeka has a drive-through?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Drive-through Chipotle. Well,
Topeka's living in the year
well,
3000.
one-
I
Wonders
mean, it's
never
a mobile
cease.
order through, so you have to
Ah.
place you can't just roll up there and order it.
The Chipotle Chucker moves on to tomorrow on What Is Wrong With You. When we come back, we begin our countdown to Chiefs Kickoff on 580 Sports Talk. Multiple reports into the 580 Sports Talk YouTube live chat are informing me that I am misinformed, that I am wrong, that the North Topeka Chipotle is also right to left. And as I'm sitting here and recalling the Chipotle of my youth, the Chipotle closest to my parents' house where I grew up in Colorado. Colorado, by the way, the birthplace of Chipotle. That one was also a right to left Chipotle. So now I don't know what to do because
I feel like I've only been in left to right.
I picture it as being a left to right. And like, that doesn't mean like it's sort of like, you know, there are people that bat left-handed, people who bat right-handed, but left-handers have prettier swings. This is canon. And Chipotle is a left to right. It's like all dogs are boys and all cats are girls.
No, that's correct. I've only ever been in ones that are left to right. I don't know if if I'm in the twilight zone, but I'll pick up that mantle because I've been in like, I don't know, enough to know they've always gone the same direction.
Wait, now I'm thinking the one that when I was with Washburn Women, when we went to Minnesota and we stopped in somewhere in Iowa at a Chipotle.
Is this like a Mandela effect thing? Like we all had the same memory, but we all had the wrong memory?
I think
like how Bernstein is spelled? Yeah.
I think that Chipotle went different, but every other one I've been is right to left.
Text from the 785 and Andrew in the live chat both suggesting that Qdoba is the superior fast casual Mexican offering, to which I can only say, sorry, but you're wrong. You're wrong.
One of our new owners, Jake, has that same philosophy. He was talking about it at lunch.
He's wrong. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's wrong. It's incorrect.
Can we get him on the...
Both of them, by the way, originate in Colorado. Qdoba used to be called Z-Teca. There was a Z-Teca at the Aurora Mall that I used to go to when I was a kid. Z-Teca was good.
I'm going to tell you this. Neither one is an advertiser with us. So if you want to be the official, actually good Mexican fast food of 580 Sports Talk, hit my line. It's on the ticker.
Hit our line. Exactly. It is countdown to Chiefs kickoff time, folks. We are in range. We are inside of 100 days. Wow. Last year we did the countdown to Chiefs kickoff for their Friday game that they opened the season with in Brazil against the Chargers. We are 98 days away from the Chiefs kicking off their 2026 season. Monday night, September 14th, at home against the Broncos. Number 98 on the Chiefs camp roster is a gentleman named VJ Anthony. And what I know about VJ Anthony could fill a thimble. He played at Duke. He is a UDFA in this class. His dad also played college football. Lance Zierlein says he is best when playing up the field with elusiveness in both phases. I don't think he's going to make the team. The edge group pretty thin right now for the Chiefs, but I don't think it's that thin. So anyhow, I want to talk about number 99 instead. I want to talk about Peter Woods. Because Peter Woods, to me, is one of the most interesting players in this entire Chiefs roster. Because I think you can argue that the second most important thing for the 2026 Chiefs, beyond Mahomes' health, and Mahomes' health is the big thing. It's like Secretariat at the Belmont. It's Mahomes' health and then everything else, miles apart. But I think you could argue the second most important thing for the 2026 Chiefs is they have to get their pass rush back to the level it was at 2-3 seasons ago when they had 50-plus sacks back-to-back seasons. They've been in the 30s in sacks each of the last 2 years. Now, last year, apparently, George Karlaftis was playing through a significant hand injury that really sapped his power and made him not very productive in the second half of the season. And obviously, Chris Jones's production has dipped because he's an older player now, and he's not the 15-sack monster that he was in his prime. But the Chiefs need to replace that level of production. Pressure is nice, but you need the negative plays. You need the splash defensive plays. And the Chiefs have lacked those the last 2 seasons. Getting sacks on the board matters. Peter Woods' ability to get those sacks from the interior really matters to this team. And so the big question for Woods is he the guy that entered his junior year at Clemson as a consensus top 10 talent in the 2026 draft? Or is he the guy that produced at a level that made him a borderline first-round pick? Because if he's the former, he could be really good right away. If he's the latter, it's a big question mark.
Yeah, and it's hard to know exactly why there was the difference between sophomore season and junior season. And, you know, the funny thing about it is Woods was an All-American this past year, and he had...
it's not like he was bad, right?
Yeah, and had decent numbers, but I think anyone who watched him expecting, oh, yeah, this dude's going to be unstoppable, came away thinking, oh, he wasn't that. And I don't think he was even bad necessarily, but, you know, if he had been that player the entire time, be like, oh, yeah, you know, somewhere between like pick 25 and 35, sure. But now, again, because of the earlier expectations, it's, ooh, are you sure about that? Like, does that the guy? And it's hard to know why. Like, maybe he saw dollar signs and just said, yeah, I'm good. Maybe, and, people I trust.
Wasn't a good season for Clemson last year.
Okay, so there's that as well. Like, very few people were good. That part, and that would make sense. By the same token, his teammate at Clemson, TJ Power, no one was talking about him at all going into the year. He ended up top 50 pick. In fact, did he make it to the first round with Buffalo? No, he was Buffalo's first pick, early second round, whatever it was. He was picked on early in day 2. And no one was talking about him. Clemson sucked, and he still was able to make enough of an impact to fire way up draft boards. So it's hard to know exactly what the reason is. If it's entirely like I'm just waiting to get paid, then I think I can coast. You'd rather have him on his first contract than his second.
Right.
So that's working. And I'm not even sure that's what it is. But if it is, the Chiefs are in a better spot than whoever ends up giving him $20 million a year on his second deal after 5 years. So it's hard to know, but the talent is obviously there. I mean, there's no questioning his good is really good. 8.5 sacks in 11 games as a college sophomore is crazy at defensive tackle.
Not a lot of 310-pounders move like he does. Like, there is significant upside here. And in a way, it's kind of a piece with what Brett Veach has always liked to do. Bet on the talent. Whether that's bringing in like a first-rounder who flopped at another stop. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's betting on the talent.
And this is different than like my favorite team, in fact, the team I own, people do forget that I own the Green Bay Packers. They love to use first-round picks on clay. Like, we're going to mold this guy into a good player. Sometimes it works. Rashawn Gary had a few good years. Sometimes it doesn't. Lucas Van Ness, not so sure. This is a different kind of bet that's like raw tools bets. This is, well, we've seen him be a good player. He's still young. We just haven't seen him be a good player a lot. We think we can get that figured out. We'll find out.
It's a fascinating bet.
I would have rather had him at 29 than at 6 or 9 previously. I can tell you that much.
Chris Jones is not an out of the question outcome and I'm not talking like prime Chris Jones, but I'm talking about like that sort of a skill set. Yeah. I'm not talking about like Hall of Fame ceiling here. That's a lot to put on the 29th overall pick.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the skill set, the ability to be impactful as an interior pass rusher while also being helpful against the run. Like, that's in play.
Wide range of outcomes. That would, I guess, be both my optimism and pessimism.
We'll take one last time out, come back, and wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. .455 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. Brendan, before you get out of here for the day, I wanted your quick thoughts on the Chiefs news of the day in case you folks missed it. L'Jarius Sneed is back with the team. 1-year deal, incentives up to $5 million on the contract. My impression of this is that this is less about, oh no, I'm worried about the talent level in the room, and more about we've got a competition for a really important role in our defense, and we've got a guy who's been really, really good in that role who we can go get and be a veteran voice in what is all of a sudden a really young defensive back room, and there's no downside if he's too hurt to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, that's the upside is that there's no downside, right? Like, okay, you cut him during camp, whatever. This is almost comical that of all dudes are going to bring back L'Jarius Sneed, who they got rid of a year early rather than a year late because they knew his knee was a ticking time bomb. And he had the injury issues in Tennessee. I mean, he played 12 games in 2 years. And when he was on the field, he was bad. Like, it wasn't just he wasn't very good. He was bad when he was on the field for Tennessee. Two outcomes here. Either this is just, it's a body and a chance that maybe we bring back one of Spags' favorites if he has a great camp, or, wow, Christian Fulton's bad. Like, that's the only rostered outcome here for L'Jarius Sneed. I don't really get it, to be honest with you. I've been clamoring for the Chiefs to just stop doing this and to just say, get the old voices out of the room. Just be willing to do something totally new. They refuse to do that, so this is pretty much par for the course. But either he's a pleasant surprise or he's going to be a free agent in 2 months anyway. So not super moved by it, but it is comical that they did it again.
Yeah, it's a very...
They cannot help themselves, man.
It's like, yeah, they missed the chance to do it with Juju, and they said, nah, man, I got this itch I got to scratch. I got to bring back an old friend.
Reese Fountain want to come out of retirement? Well, what's Marcus Kemp up to? Come on, guys. Derek Nottie is rostered somewhere. I saw that the other day. I bet you could pull him.
Yeah, hey, the minute he's not, he can expect a call.
Oh, without question. Without question. And without question, when the weather is out there and warm, you may be out, getting in a little mud on the tires. Best place to go to get your car clean, my friends at Eagle Auto Wash. They've been locally owned right here in Topeka since 1987. And with their unlimited wash pass, they are destroying the competition's rates. You can get your car clean to your exact specifications every single time. I love it. My Rogue loves it. I know you will too. So go check out the unlimited wash pass at Eagle Auto Wash and soar with the Eagle.
That'll do it for this hour of 580 Sports Talk. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, we got a whole passel of sports headlines to bring you, plus a look at the playoff roundup and a trip to the winner's circle. We'll get to some Royals baseball. It's about that time of year, and they're at about that position in the standings where we put it off till the 5 o'clock hour. But it was a good weekend, a good week for the Royals, and a really good Sunday for Noah Cameron. We'll get to that. And a little bit of sincerity hours and 580 Dad Talk coming up in the final hour as well. Stay with us here on 580 Sports Talk. Well, let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Monday evening. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube is killing off bots left and right, and it's shrinking our subscriber numbers, which makes us sad. We're now 24 subscribers shy of 1,000, but that's not that far away, and you can help us get one step closer. If you are not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, go slam that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything but a click. You'll be able to access our entire archive of shows ever since we started streaming on YouTube all the way back. I think it was Halloween of 2022 was the first time we did our sports talk shows. At the time, we had two. So if for any mic'd up fans out there, anybody out there who's a fan or remembers Mic'd Up with Jake and Fulton, that archive is still on our YouTube channel. Old instant reaction videos, anything else we've done, shorts or short form video. And if you're subscribed on YouTube, you get notified whenever we post something new or whether we're about to go live. Cover an event or just doing the show. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And again, when we get to 1,000, we're going to do something really fun. At 800 subscribers, Brendan and I arm wrestled. At 900 subscribers, we all sang karaoke. How will we debase ourselves at 1,000 subscribers? You're going to have to get us there to find out. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. My name's Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is across the glass for this final hour. No Royals baseball tonight. They are off before opening a series against the Texas Rangers at Kauffman Stadium tomorrow. So no baseball tonight, but we'll get to some Royals baseball a little bit later on in this hour of the show. I'm still thinking about this Chipotle left to right, right to left thing, Spencer. This is really got my head in knots. So the reason, like, it's probably just like your most trafficked location of insert chain restaurant here, like where you build your own food, whatever it is, whether it's Panda, whether it's Subway or your
Jersey Mike's,
your sandwich spot of choice, Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, whatever it is. Jimmy John's not really, you don't really build it. You kind of order. But Jersey Mike's, yeah, you build it, you go. So it's probably whichever one you traffic the most is the way you see it in your head. But to me, I don't know. Like, it feels more natural for the sandwich space shops to go right to left and like Chipotle to go left to right. And I don't know why that is, other than I've been going to the Chipotle at 21st and Wanamaker since I moved here in 2016, and it goes left to right. So that's just the image of the place I have in my head. It goes left to right. It's probably not any deeper than that. But what if it is, man? What if it is? My world's expanding.
Yeah, I don't know. I prefer to order my Chipotle on the app, so.
Fair enough. My wife and I do that a lot now, too. Standing in line and having to bring the kiddo with you, that's a lot.
Mostly because most of the time I want to go order Chipotle, it is dinner time. It's prime lunch time.
Right.
It's the line is to the door, and I just...
You'd rather not stand in the line.
I know that sometimes when you order online, you don't get as much meat. You don't get as much stuff in your bowl, allegedly, but I don't care. It saves me. It saves me 5 minutes.
It really is hit or miss.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a lot.
It's a little hit or miss on that. I get, because you read left to right, but then why is Subway to me, specifically Subway? Subway has to be right to left to me. Again, no idea why. And I haven't been to a Subway in
I've never been in a Subway that is right to left. I've always gone left to right.
So the one in Colby, Kansas, which is the last one I went to regularly, it's right to left.
I'm pretty sure the one in North Topeka is left to right. I've been there once.
785 texter says the Qdoba on Wanamaker is left to right. That's correct. I know that one for a fact. That is left to right because I was in there not too long ago. Regarding the debate, the eternal Chipotle v. Qdoba debate, my wife is on the other side as me. She likes Qdoba better.
I'm starting to like Qdoba. I like their queso and I like their guac. Sometimes we'll do our own, I've discussed this on the show. Like we're Mexican from home.
Sure.
And it'll be like Olivia will text me. She's like, "Hey, do you want to pick this up on the way home?"
There you go.
And I drop by Wanamaker. I've ordered it online, and boom, I go in and pick it up.
Yeah.
They have better chips too. I'm not a big fan of the Chipotle line.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Only because they're kind of stale. I've gotten them kind of stale before at Chipotle.
Okay, yeah. If you had a bad experience, I can see where that ruins it for you. But no, like left to right feels right for Chipotle, and right to left feels right for Subway.
We gotta stop this. It's 5:11. I'm hungry as heck.
I know, man. I'm getting to be starving too, no doubt about it. But anyhow, if you have strong opinions on what direction you should go while you're ordering your fast casual takeout, whether it's the Panda, I haven't been to the one in North Topeka yet, but the Panda on Wanamaker's left to right.
I'm not a Panda guy.
Really? You're lost, man. Panda's good. You a little Beijing beef in you? Good eating. Anyway. If you have strong opinions on which way you should go, left to right or right to left, I guess is what way in general feels natural. Like I would say broadly, left to right feels more natural to me. But of course, I'm sure it just depends on how the restaurant is constructed, like what direction you go. But broadly speaking, if I am going to go to a place where I order my food and I watch it assembled in front of me, it feels more correct to me to go left to right.
Yeah, I mean, also, I guess it also depends where the building is set inside it, like where the place is set inside the building.
Right. Yeah, it's all about build and everything like that. But like it feels left to right feels more natural.
Because I used to get Chipotle a lot when I lived in West Virginia at my last job. If I was going to go in studio for, like, if I was producing that night, like we would all rotate around who called games during baseball and basketball season. And if I was in studio that night and I was like, I'm going to go by and get me Chipotle, I would go in at such a time, like at 4:30, there's not a lot of people in there. So I would go order it. And that was always go in the door, go left. The line goes here. You're at the start of the line. You go right, you pay, get your drink and your utensils, and you walk out.
The most often I ate Chipotle in my life was when I worked in Wichita. Former WIBW employee Alex Gold, now at
saw him last
now
weekend.
now at 96.5 there in Kansas City, but started his career as my co-host on Morning Drive on a station in Wichita, and we would do radio together. And when we had a bad day at the other part of our job, which was every day, we would often decide, hey, man, you want to go get Chipotle? You want to go forget about our troubles and bury them in a chicken burrito? And like, yes, I do. And we would go like when the thing opened. We would go at like 11 o'clock, the one up on, I think, 21st and Mays. And that was left to right, pretty sure. So, again, fair argument from the 785 saying you're worrying about the small stuff, left to right or right to left. That's silly. I just want to get my food and eat. And you know what? I respect that take. But it only just today occurred to me, seeing that footage from that California Chipotle where the 18-year-old girl threw a burrito bowl at the employee, or what is wrong with you winner today. So you'll see it again tomorrow. Got me thinking about that. And I really don't know why. Let's unbreak my brain if possible. And let's do some headlines, because we got some headlines. We're going to talk about the Royals. We got playoff roundup and winner's circle and headlines today. A whole lot to get to. So let's get started with our 580 Sports Talk headlines. And let's get started with this from the weekend. Kansas State football securing the commitment of the number one player in the state of Kansas. Great Ben's Cooper Onmacht announced his commitment to the Wildcats on Sunday. He is a 4-star recruit per 24/7 Sports and the number one ranked player in the state of Kansas, the number 14th ranked athlete in the state. So not given a position just yet. Somebody who is maybe going to play defense at the college level. Sounds like he's going to play defense, exclusively defense, in his senior season at Great Bend. And yes, that's 2 of the last 3 years that Great Bend's had the number one high school player in the state of Kansas. This came pretty far out of left field for Kansas State, because the consensus, the popular wisdom was that Onmacht was going to go to Penn State. That was the widely held belief throughout the recruiting process, was that this young man was going to go to Penn State. Penn State had a really good recruiting position for him. Wisconsin was thought to be a competitor for him as well. But they forgot about one thing. They forgot Colin Klein's a closer.
Yeah.
And Colin Klein got it done for the kid out of Great Bend, Cooper Onmach, the number 1 player in the state of Kansas. And it's interesting because we had Cole Carmody on for the Wildcat wrap-up last week with Tim Fitzgerald on vacation. And Cole Carmody is the recruiting editor at GoPowerCat.com. And we had asked him, I think it was Brendan who asked him about the in-state crop of talent this year. And Carmody saying that it's not as good a senior class of football players in the state of Kansas as it has been in recent years, where there's been a decent share of, high 3- and 4-star players, even some 5-star kids like Lincoln Cure, Annie, and Premer coming out of Kansas. That's not really the case this year. Onmach's the only 4-star kid. And there's maybe 1 or 2 other high 3-star recruits. But the interesting note about those rated recruits is that none of them were committed to Kansas State. Well, now the recruit in the state of Kansas is staying in state, and he's going to don the purple and go to Manhattan. K-State gets the commitment from Cooper Onmach. That is a big, big deal. Next headline, Spencer, you're going to keep it even more local. You've got a Scarecrows headline for us.
Yeah, we do. Today, the Topeka Scarecrows announced that head coach Robbie Nichols is stepping down as the bench boss of the Crows after just 1 season, but he will be continuing in his role as GM. Quote from co-owner Don Lewis, quote, "We are incredibly fortunate to have had Robbie remain with us as our general manager. Although he won't be behind the bench, he will be more actively involved off the ice with all of our great partners and fans. I've believed and continue to believe that Robbie has left a lasting mark on the Scarecrows' legacy and will continue doing so. I know that he and his dog Buddy will stay deeply engaged with the community to continue to make Topeka proud. There isn't a better person we would want to lead the search for our new head coach." The search has begun for a new head coach, one that will make sure they see postseason again, one that makes sure they play hard-nosed Topeka Scarecrows hockey, and a coach that knows the importance of giving back to the great people of Topeka and the surrounding community. They actually got him out of retirement.
Yeah, so
to be the head coach last year.
Yeah, he mostly is operate on the business side of not just hockey but professional sports. He owns as a co-owner of 3 teams in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, and hadn't done any coaching since he was the head coach of the Elmira Enforcers, or rather, I think he was just the owner of the Enforcers. He hadn't coached, in quite some years, and was convinced to be the inaugural head coach and general manager of the Scarecrows. Now he's going to focus primarily on the team building aspect of things, and the search again for a new head coach continues. Crows went 30-20-6, made the postseason in their inaugural season in the FPHL. If you've not been keeping up with the offseason developments in the FPHL,
it's huge, man. It's like teams folding, then they're adding a bunch of new teams.
So it's minor league sports, right?
Yes.
So you're going to have teams that close up shop. Thankfully, the Scarecrows are not. The Scarecrows are not one of those. Did very good business their first year. And then you're going to have expansion, and the FPHL is expanding westward. They've got 3 new teams in California scheduled to start in 2026-27. One in Fresno, one in Ontario, I want to say, and one in another location. I believe they're also adding a team in Detroit. So, yes, the league is continuing to grow, even though there were some franchises that did not make it.
They had a team fold in New Orleans, I think, or the Zydeco.
Yeah.
But they have a team returning
Baton Rouge,
there.
yeah.
Baton Rouge, yes. There's a team that's going to take the place of them.
So, yeah, how a league whose Topeka's the farthest west team, and now they're going to add teams from California. So, be interesting to see how they handle travel. I don't think they charter flights in the FPHL.
Bus. They busted all the way to Binghamton, New York for their playoff series.
I'm telling you. I probably told the story before. I once turned down a junior hockey play-by-play job in a different stage in my career. Would have meant a pay cut, first and foremost, but also would have meant a lot of time on the bus, because I would have been the voice of the furthest west team in the United States Hockey League. And there would have been a lot of bus time for me in my mid-20s and not making as much money, and I just decided that I liked hockey. I love hockey.
I don't think I blame you on that.
So, yeah, no, there's another version of my life where I slum it and make $23,000 a year as the voice of the Tri-City Storm for a couple of years, and maybe now I'm calling the Stanley Cup Finals. Maybe if I'd followed that path.
But maybe you would have been.
Yeah, maybe it'd be me instead
You
of
never
Sean
know.
McDonough right now. Yeah, you never know. Sliding doors moment, truly, in my life. Next headline for me, the College World Series field is set for this coming weekend in Omaha. Unfortunately, of course, we know it does not include the Kansas Jayhawks. They were one of 4 national seeds to fall to defeat in super regional play over the weekend, though 2 of them lost to higher-seeded national seeds. 5 national seeds are moving on to the field of 8. 5 SEC teams comprise the field of 8. The first-round matchups are set as follows. The number 16 seed West Virginia, who swept Cal Poly to make it to their first-ever College World Series, will take on Troy, who topped Little Rock, swept them in 2 games. The number 5 national seed North Carolina, who rallied back and defeated USC in the only game 3 of the Supers, will play Ole Miss, who upset 4th-ranked Auburn, or 4th-seeded Auburn. The other half of the bracket, Oklahoma, who defeated Kansas, will play the number 7 national seed Alabama, who swept St. John's. The other matchup was chalk in the 2 that pitted seeded teams against each other. It was chalk results. Texas beat Oregon, number 6 over number 11, and Texas will play Georgia, who beat number 14 Mississippi State, what was by far the wildest super regional of the weekend, even though it only went 2 games. Georgia came from behind. They were down 7-0 in the opener and came back and won that game in a walk-off, and then held on to win the second game as well. So that's your field: West Virginia, Troy, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia. I kind of lean Georgia here, not just because they're the highest seed, but because it very clearly looks like they have the most dangerous offense. But don't count out a couple of the underdogs out of the, if you can call an SEC team an underdog. Ole Miss is playing really good baseball right now, and they're a program that's recently won a title. And, man, Oklahoma is stinging the baseball right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how those freshman pitchers are going to handle the crucible of Omaha, but if all of a sudden they're the 27 Yankees at the plate, then, who knows? So
not on the field, but I think West Virginia fans have a chance to take down a Jello shot title at the local bar.
There aren't enough Jello shots in the world. So for people who don't know, there is a local bar in Omaha. I don't know how close it is to Charles Schwab Field, but there is a bar in Omaha that welcomes College World Series patrons, and they have a contest to which team's fans buy the most Jello shots. And ain't nobody going to touch West Virginia this weekend.
No, they might go after the all-time record.
They are going to put that record in the parking lot.
For what it's worth, it is literally across the street from Charles Schwab Field.
How about that? Yeah, that is what is at stake for West Virginia fans. They may not win the title, but they can damn sure win the Jello Shot Award. That's for certain. You got another headline for us?
Yes, I do. This one NFL related. Broncos edge rusher Jonathan Cooper pleads not guilty to domestic violence charges. He will go to a courtroom, or excuse me, he has a trial set for late July in Douglas County, Colorado.
So some off-field issues for the defending AFC West champions. The standout edge rusher who was second on the team last season with 8 sacks, signed a 4-year, $60 million contract extension 2 off seasons ago, was held Thursday night into Friday morning on suspicion of criminal mischief with a domestic violence enhancer. His girlfriend was also arrested on the suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence with an additional charge of petty criminal mischief. The 2 parties gave vastly different accounts about the argument and confrontation, so not surprising in that scenario that it has led to charges being filed and a court date being set. And, of course, as that progresses, the NFL could potentially punish Cooper under the league's personal conduct policy. The Broncos released a statement Friday morning saying they were aware of the matter and gathering more information. Cooper on Saturday posted a Bible verse on his personal Instagram account and wrote, "I apologize to my family and friends and to my friends and my community and so many others. I realize posting a Bible quote after something very serious happens does not just mean everything is okay." So something to watch for one of the most important members of the Denver Broncos. Let's go to the winner's circle, shall we? Whole lot going on this weekend. We'll start on the golf course where JT Poston beat Ryan Gerard in a playoff, a one-hole playoff at Jack's tournament, the Memorial in Ohio. Gary Woodland T36 on the weekend. Had a really rough Saturday on a rainy day in Ohio, but bounced back with a quality effort on Sunday. There was a women's golf major. Nelly Korda lipped in a 2-footer on 18 for a one-shot win at Riviera in Los Angeles for the U.S. Women's Open Championship. That's her second consecutive major win and the fourth of her career. If you watch the highlight, the putt never looks like it's going in until it does. She very nearly gave away a major on the 72nd hole, missing a 2-foot putt, would have gone to a playoff. And it, like off the face, it looks like it's going left. And it does 270 degrees around the cup, and it drops in. Like,
Dang.
you watch her hit the putt, and you go, oh, no, she blew it. And then somehow she didn't blow it. So that's what happened on the links this weekend. On the track, Denny Hamlin wins for the second straight week, taking the checkered at Michigan, an emotional checkered flag for Denny Hamlin, who with the win has 63 career Cup Series wins, which ties his friend, the late Kyle Busch, for 9th all time. Golden Tempo was your winner at the Belmont Stakes. The Kentucky Derby winner, who did not run the Preakness, comes back and wins the third leg of horse racing's Triple Crown. Again, that is a female trainer for Golden Tempo as well. That trainer became the first to win the Kentucky Derby. And I'm trying to figure out if she was the first to win the Belmont as well.
I would presume.
I think she was. But yes, after skipping the Preakness, it was a late surge by Golden Tempo. Yes, Sherry DeVoe, the trainer, the first female trainer to win multiple Triple Crown legs, but actually the second to win the Belmont. Jenna Antonucci won the 2023 Belmont Stakes with Arcangelo. Also in the winner's circle, a pair of Russians come out on top in upset-filled French Opens at Roland Garros. 19-year-old Mira Andreeva wins the women's French Open. Alexander Zverev wins his first career major as well on the men's side. Major asterisk on that one. No participation from oh my God, what's his name? The Spanish kid who's going to win them all.
I know who you're
my
talking about.
God, Alcaraz, Carlos Alcaraz. He did not play due to injury. Yannick Sinner was eliminated because he got hurt and cramped up and couldn't move and lost like 18 straight points and ended up losing one of his early matches. Those are the two best players in the world, and they were effectively rendered out of the tournament due to injury. So big asterisk, but I don't think Zverev will care. The check will clear all the same. Let's do a playoff roundup, shall we?
We get Denny Hamlin?
Yes, we did. We get to Denny. We did.
Oh,
I did. Yes.
Sorry.
So let's now get to a playoff roundup.
Oh, we've having technical difficulties again.
Oh, dear.
We're good.
All right. Give it to me.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
We'll start on Frozen Pond. Vegas keeps on riding their puck luck to a 2-1 series lead in the Stanley Cup Final. Shea Theodore's shot caromed in off of two Carolina defenders in the second overtime to give the Golden Knights a 5-4 win Saturday night at home over the Carolina Hurricanes. Vegas had blown a 4-0 third period lead, with Carolina scoring the tying goal inside of 2 minutes. But in the second overtime, Theodore and Vegas got the bounce and the 2-1 lead. Game 4 is tomorrow night. Tonight on the hardwood, it's the first NBA Finals game at Madison Square Garden in 27 years, and the Knicks are 2 wins away from their first title since 1973. The vibes around the Garden should be astronomically high. Yeah, about that. I don't know if you've seen the pictures from outside of Madison Square Garden, but it looks like almost prison-like. So President Donald Trump decided to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals. He will attend as an invited guest. of Knicks owner James Dolan.
Is he sitting on the floor or in a suite?
It's got to be in a suite. Got to be in a suite.
Because Obama went to a game in 2016.
President Obama was the last sitting president. I think it was 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
President Obama was the last sitting president to attend an NBA Finals game. That was back in 2015. So obviously there's precedent there. We don't have really a whole lot of evidence that that President Trump is an avid basketball fan.
He did run camera back in the 90s for a celebrity on camera or something for the NBA on NBC, I think, back in the 90s.
That tracks. That tracks everything we have known about the man before he became president. The best analogy I can give is, so there's an episode of The Simpsons where they add a character to the Itchy and Scratchy show. They add the dog Poochie, and Homer gets to be the voice of Poochie, and nobody really is a big fan of the character after the first episode. So Homer comes back with some ideas to how to make the character better. And one of his ideas was, whenever Poochie's not on the screen, all the characters should be asking, "Where's Poochie?" That's kind of been Donald Trump's MO well before he ever entered the realm of politics. When he's not on the screen, people should be asking, "Where is he?" That's just how he's operated as a socialite, as a person who is famous. And that is irrespective of, again, the man's political career. Well, now that he is president, it's much easier, maybe not the right word, but maybe easier is the right word, to get access to the kinds of things where you might want to show up and be seen. Because this is not about, like, Donald Trump wasn't there in 1973 watching, like, Willis Reed and, like, no, this means something to me. This is personal to me. I'm the biggest Knicks fan in the world, and I want to be there for Game 3 for the first finals game at the Garden in 27 years. Like, it's not that. I think we can all acknowledge that it's not that. It is, I would like to be on television. And he is going to be on television. I am sure that they will put him on the Jumbotron tonight. As to the reaction that the president will get when he is placed on the Jumbotron tonight, I suspect it will probably sound a lot like it did at the 2019 World Series in D.C., where it will be mixed.
He also showed up at a Commanders game last fall.
He did.
And it was very, very mixed.
Yes. I think he is a football fan. I think Donald Trump enjoys his football.
Yeah.
Owned a team, and obviously in the USFL has shown up at, the SEC championship game, national championship game, Army-Navy game. Like, that tracks. Right? A lot of UFC fights, friendly crowds for Trump at the UFC fights. This basketball thing is strictly about, like, this is who he was before we knew him as the president. Like, oh, there's a thing happening in New York. I'm going to try and get on TV. It's why in the photo of Eric Hosmer scoring the game-tying run in Game 5 of the 2015 World Series, who's in the background? Before he decided to run for president. He's there.
Yeah.
Not because he's this great big Mets fan, but because it's a thing happening in New York, and I would like to be on television while it's happening. So he's going to get his wish. As for the game, Knicks are up in the series 2-0, and it would be a much more festive environment outside of the arena if there could be an environment outside the arena. They've shut down the watch parties. They basically said no walking around outside the arena. Like, they've penned it off. They've fenced it off. So it'll be a bit of a different vibe around the arena, but in the arena, I suspect that once the game tips off, I don't think it will matter if it was aliens sitting in James Dolan's suite. The focus will be on the game, and the Knicks trying to take a 3-0 series lead. That is your playoff roundup. We'll come back, talk about the Royals, because they played some ball over the weekend. 5-2 last week for the Royals. Is that a pulse I detect from the boys in blue? We'll talk about it next on 580 Sports Talk. 537 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you. In case you haven't noticed, and judging by the attendance, you haven't, the Kansas City Royals have won a few ball games and are threatening to climb out of the cellar. That's a wholesale ripoff of a line from Major League. They are threatening to climb out of the cellar and would have done so if not for the annoying fact that the Tigers are also red hot. And, oh, yeah, Tarek Skubal's coming back a month earlier than anticipated, it sounds like. But both teams now up to 27 wins. They've cleared Colorado and Los Angeles with room to spare now.
Well,
moving on up.
Didn't happen.
Moving on up. Royals go 3 out of 4 in Minnesota on the weekend. Obviously, they won on Thursday. Friday dropped a 5-3 decision, but bounced back a late rally. Bobby Witt Jr. go-ahead single in the 9th inning, giving them a 3-2 win yesterday, or rather on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Noah Cameron was terrific. Starling Marte hit a home run. Our first Marte parte of the season. I didn't think he still threw partes.
Yeah, they almost lost it though.
That was a missile. Marte hit like 400 odd feet. First home run of the season, 4th extra base hit in 73 plate appearances for Marte. Now slugging a crisp .348. It was 6-1 going into the 9th. Matt Quatrero opted for the rookie Beck Way. That was the wrong way. He should have said no way.
He'll find himself down in AAA very soon.
He did not know the way to the strike zone, gave up a 3-run home run to Josh Bell. Lucas Erceg had to come in very nearly, threw more gasoline on the fire before he retired Brooks Lee and a fly out to left to preserve the 6-5 victory. So 5 wins in 7 for the Royals last week. Kind of week you got to have a lot more of to dig yourself out of the hole that has already been dug for this team. Noah Cameron was the story yesterday, and I have been pretty consistent in my evaluation of Cameron going back to when the Royals called him up last year, even throughout what was, by all measures, an excellent rookie season. Kept the ERA below 3 in 24 starts and gave the Royals fairly consistent length throughout his starts last season, which was probably the most impressive thing that Cameron provided, was the ability to be pitch efficient, get deep into games. He's got good command, and that was a big part of it. Finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting. It was a really, really good year for Noah Cameron. But I didn't leave Cameron's rookie year feeling like we were seeing an ace in the making, and that's no knock because very few pitchers earn a designation like that. I felt very comfortable in evaluating Cameron as a solid back of the rotation 4th or 5th starter for the Royals. And the reason that was my evaluation was he was a bit too homer prone and didn't get enough strikeouts. Like, if you're really going to be one of the elite, if you're going to be a mid-rotation, upper rotation guy in the major leagues, you got to throw strikes, no walk people, you got to keep the ball in the ballpark, and you got to miss bats. And Cameron had a strikeout rate below 7.5 per 9, which is kind of on the fringes of acceptable. It's acceptable when you pair it when you're walking less than 3 per 9, which is what Cameron did. But the home run rate was up over 1 per 9 and at Kauffman Stadium. That's a tough feat to accomplish for a starting pitcher to have a home run rate above 1 per 9. And that's where Cameron was last year, 18 home runs given up in 138 in the 3rd inning. So that was my evaluation. Like, it's not overwhelming stuff, but it's a lot of strikes. It's pitch efficiency, a guy who knows how to pitch. Those guys tend to end up being 4th, 5th starter types. And there's nothing wrong. Those guys last a long time and make a lot of money. The going rate for a guy like that starts at 8 figures. You're paying a guy like that 8 figures a year on the free agent market. For the Royals, they don't owe Noah Cameron arbitration money until 2029.
And he might take hometown discounts after that.
Well, we'll see about that. By the time it's 2032, that's 6 years down the road, he'll be 32. So
yeah,
they maybe prime earning years.
Have you
for Noah Cameron?
You seen the numbers in his last 4 starts?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So Cameron's been really good. Really, his last 5 starts. He had the quality start against St. Louis. He had been in a bit of a rough patch before that. But he had the quality start against St. Louis on the road on May 16th. And since then, 6 innings, 3 runs allowed in that outing. 6 shutout innings against Seattle at home on the 22nd. 5 innings of 2-run ball against the Yankees, and that doesn't sound like much, but considering what the Yankees had done to him the first 2 times they'd seen him, that represented a quantum leap in a positive direction. And then his 2 starts on the road trip, 7 innings of 1-hit, 1-run ball against Cincinnati. That was that painful loss where Quatrero completely blew the bullpen management, put Strom and Urseg in games they had no reason to be in. And then 6 innings of 1-run ball. The run was unearned, came on a rare Bobby Witt Jr. error. Only 3 hits allowed. In his last 2 starts, 15 strikeouts and no walks in 13 innings. And on the year, all of his numbers are trending in a real positive direction. He's striking out now 8.5 batters per 9. That's a lot more what you see that's commensurate with a middle of the rotation, with a number 3, number 2 type of starter. The walk rate has dropped. There's not a whole lot lower for it to go, but 2.3 walks per 9. He's cut his walks by half a walk per 9 innings. And the home run rate is down below 1 per 9. Only 6 long balls allowed in 65 2/3. The ERA is higher, almost a full run higher so far, 384 compared to 299 last year. But some of that is just batted ball luck. He's giving up more hits in general. According to his fielding independent pitching number, last year, Noah Cameron's fielding independent, his FIP, 4.18, well above his ERA, suggesting a pitcher who was probably riding his luck a little bit. This year, Noah Cameron's FIP, 3.15, more than half a run lower than his actual ERA. So the numbers actually suggest that Cameron's been better than his ERA this year. He's getting ahead of hitters more often, which is a big deal. Throwing strike 1 a lot more often, that's a big deal. That's going to let you be even more pitch efficient and continue to get deep into games. The whiff percentage has dropped a little bit this year for him, but not in an alarming fashion like it has for like Lucas Urseg over the last 2 years. His whiff's down just a little bit, just about 2%. But everything else is a really positive trend for Cameron. And that's exciting to see because the failings of the bullpen this year and some of the injuries that the Royals have suffered on the mound have obscured the fact that over the last 3 years, with Brian Sweeney as this team's pitching coach, the Royals have done some really nice work developing pitchers and improving pitchers at the big league level. And they're doing it again with Noah Cameron. And again, it's the kind of thing that gets obscured a little bit because the team's results haven't been really good and Cameron's ERA is higher, so the surface level numbers don't maybe look like improvement. But make no mistake about it, Noah Cameron looks like he is becoming a better pitcher and maybe raising that ceiling. And that is something to be excited about, even if you're not inclined to get real fired up. And it's understandable if you aren't inclined to get real fired up about a 5-2 week when you're still, after all of that, in last place. Again, no Royals baseball tonight. They're back in action tomorrow against Texas at home.
Bobby Witt Jr. was hurt yesterday.
He was. Left the game with right knee soreness. Didn't seem to be too concerned about it. Was just kind of hoping he could gut it out yesterday, get through to the day off, but ended up having to come out of the game. Jack Caglione also left Saturday's game with some shoulder soreness after he ran into a wall and didn't play yesterday. I don't know if he would have played anyway. It was a left-hander on the mound for Minnesota. But, yeah, definitely something to watch. Hopefully those two are back in the lineup tomorrow if the Royals are going to keep their positive momentum going.
We'll start a rehab assignment tomorrow in Omaha as well.
That's also critical news. Royals need him back in a big way. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Allow me to be sincere for a moment when we come back on 580 Sports Talk. 548 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you. So, you guys know, I was talking about it on Friday's show, but my son turned 2 on Saturday, and we had a birthday party on Saturday at the house, a vehicle-themed birthday party. He got a bike, a balance bike. It's one of those, it's very multi-purpose. It can be a bike. It could be, once he's ready, it can be like a regular little bike. It can be a bike with training wheels. It can also be, you take the pedals off and you can like walk with it. It's how you kind of learn how to balance a little bit. There's also like a guide you can put on the back that allows a parent or somebody behind to steer. And he likes that. He likes going down the down the hill. We took him to a park and he wanted to go down the hill as fast as he could because he is just a little daredevil of a boy. He got a bunch of other, trucks and things like that, and just had a great day. He just a really happy day. And it was awesome, and it was awesome to get to spend it with family. And my parents were in town from Colorado for the weekend, and had my wife's family who's from the area. They were obviously here as well. You don't know this yet, Spencer, and one day, if you choose, hopefully you will, know the joy of fatherhood. But the one thing that you do recognize is how time moves.
Yeah.
And you gain a different appreciation for the passage of time when you are watching your little one grow up in front of you, and the milestones that they reach and the new things that they learn. And it gives you a different perspective on time, right? And you start to notice, like, I notice it all around me now. Like I turned 40 later this year. That when you're a kid, that feels like old age, your 40s. And I'm staring 40 in the face, like, that's not old. I don't feel old. Do I look old? I don't feel like I look old. Maybe I do. I don't know. A little gray in the beard, but I don't feel old. But I'm about to be 40. I play golf with my dad. He gets the senior discount now. That's not possible. My dad's not old. My parents not old. They're my parents. They're not old. I'm not old. So you process that differently at this stage, and you value time, I think, so much more because you realize that it is limited. Like the little boy that still wants to jump up on my lap, or is still learning words. Learn one I wish he hadn't learned on Saturday. he caught me saying
no.
He caught me saying one of the 7 you can't say on television, and repeated it. And I'll leave it to your imagination. Just know that that's not a mistake I'll be making again.
Does it have to do with the fire truck?
No, it did not have to do with the fire truck.
Like you could misprint. Okay.
No. I said the word. Something was broken, and I said, "Oh," and it was a bathroom word.
All right.
Yes, I said, "Oh, bathroom word."
Bleep.
And my son said it back, and I was so embarrassed. So embarrassed. So felt so awful. But anyway, I say all this to tell you, man, like, appreciate time. Appreciate the time you have with the people that you love, with the people that you care about. Cherish it, and don't waste an opportunity to tell people how you feel about them. Don't waste an opportunity to be with people that you love and be with people that you care about. Be present with them, because nothing gives you a more full appreciation of that than parenthood. And man, I just that was on my heart. That was on my head pretty heavy this weekend. Just like nobody knows. Like there was a lot of tragedy in our area this weekend. There were 2 fatality accidents on I-70. There was a very sad story. A 4-year-old boy was lost and was found deceased. And my heart breaks for their family and for the loved ones of that little boy, and for everybody who lost somebody this weekend. But I know it's cliche, it's trite, I know, but it's on my heart, and I just had to be sincere a little bit about it and just say, man, you don't know how much time you got, but you got today. You got today to tell the people in your life how much they mean to you, and you've got today to cherish those people who are special in your life. So don't waste it. That's it for that segment. We'll take a break. We'll come back with a final word here on 580 Sports Talk. All right, time to wrap up 580 Sports Talk for this Monday. Spencer Dupuy, what you got? Final word.
Yeah, Kansas baseball, excuse me. Their season came to an end today, which could have been last night. But man, shout out to the KU fans that rocked the Hog the last couple of weeks. KU winning their first regional last weekend to hosting their first regional and super regional. I mean, the fans showed out even in delays this past weekend. It was fun to cover those guys over the last couple of weeks and see what they can do next year.
Final word for me today. If you are a fan of sports, just sports in general, you need to be rooting for a quick and decisive overturn of the temporary injunction that was granted Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby today that will, at least for now, allow him to participate in the 2026 college football season, even after he broke not just a red line NCAA rule, but a red line rule in all of sports. You cannot bet on your own team and remain eligible to play. The injunction that is granted exists for now, but there is precedent for a quick hearing and a quick resolution. It happened in the Charles Bediako case where his ridiculous restraining order against the NCAA was overturned. And let's hope the same thing happens here in the state of Texas, because if Brendan Sorsby is allowed to play this year, who knows where college sports, who knows where all sports go from here, but nowhere good. I can tell you that much. No Royals baseball tonight. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.